Chapter 5139 Beauty in the prime of time. Butt-face tried to persuade him for a while, but his mouth was dry. Hun Dun did not agree. Just as Butt-face was about to fly into a rage, Yun Chujio said faintly, "Hun Dun, if you don't acknowledge me as your master, you won't be able to leave this place. If that's the case, won't your beauty in the prime of time be buried? Don't you want to show the world what true beauty is?" Hearing this, Hun Dun trembled in excitement. "Do you really think I'm beautiful? Sorry for the inconvenience. Thank you very much." Yun Chujio nodded with certainty. "You're really beautiful. You can conquer the world with your beauty." Butt-face staggered and almost fell to the ground. "Beauty? Little fairy, is it really good for you to lie like this?" Hun Dun believed it. He immediately shook his long hair and said excitedly, "Xiong-chi is right. You little girl are indeed very outstanding. What you said makes sense. I can't hide my beauty. I've decided to acknowledge you as my master. However, we have to sign an equal contract." Yun Chujio nodded and immediately signed an equal contract with Hun Dun. Butt-face lit a huge candle for Hun Dun in his heart. This brainless fellow would soon know what it meant to regret what he had done. After signing the contract, Yun Chujio revealed a mysterious smile. However, this smile was inexplicably cold in Hun Dun's eyes. It must be because of the knot in its long hair that it felt a little cold. "Hun Dun, these 5 are gen, right? Where did you get them?" Yun Chujio asked. Hun Dun said casually, "You little girl, you are really knowledgeable. Not bad, these 5 are indeed gen, they're just 5 weak chickens. If not for the fact that they also have long hair, I would have eaten them long ago. Why would I still keep them until now?" Yun Chujio said with some suspicion, "They are not too weak, right? Didn't their singing sound before confuse those demon beasts and people?" Hun Dun pursed his lips. "Although they can sing to confuse people, their power isn't that great. It's because I cooperated with them that they can perform like this. Actually, I didn't catch them to let them help me hunt, but to let them comb my long hair. Although they are stupid, it's still better than nothing." "You said that you were the one who sang those songs?" Yun Chujio found it hard to imagine that the thing in front of her could sing like that. Hun Dun snorted coldly. "Not only am I as beautiful as a flower, but am also good at singing and dancing. What is this little singing?" Yun Chujio was a little confused. How could this thing be good at singing and dancing? At this moment, Butt-face said, "Little fairy, what it said is true. Apart from the long hair on its body, Hun Dun's other tricks are singing and dancing. Although he looks ugly, he can indeed sing and dance well. Moreover, his singing and dancing contain killing intent, making it impossible to guard against him." Hearing Dog 2's words, Yun Chujio finally believed it a little. Then she asked, "Since you are so powerful, why did I break your singing?" Hun Dun said unhappily, "Firstly, my strength has dropped greatly. Secondly, that damn brat used some Buddha sound killer that was played by the jade glass Bodhi leaf to break my singing. Therefore, when I hear the voice of the jade Bodhi leaf, I tremble and can't perform at all. Fuck, if I find that damn girl or the reincarnation of that damn girl, I will definitely shave her bald head and draw a little bastard on her head so that she will never be able to marry." Chapter 5140 Glory World's beauty was gone just as Hun Dun was speaking. He heard Yun Chujio say sinisterly, "Do you want to die?" When Hun Dun heard that, he said snappily, "You're the one who wants to die. Little girl, I'm warning you. Although we have established a contract, I'm not here to be bullied. You better be careful." Butt-face silently retreated a distance and lit a row of huge candles for Hun Dun in his heart. This idiot was courting death with his strength. At this moment, Yun Chujio sneered, "The person who warned me will only have 2 outcomes. Do you know what they are?" "What are they?" Hun Dun shook his long hair that was covered in knots and asked indifferently. "One is dead and the other is living a life worse than death. Which do you choose?" Yun Chujio took out a large kitchen knife and said coldly. Hun Dun laughed out loud, "I'm dying of laughter. You little weakling, you still dare to threaten me? Do you think that I'm afraid of you because I've established a contract with you? Whatever methods you have, just use them. No matter how much you slice me, I won't let out a snort." Yun Chujio revealed an extremely brilliant smile. "I won't slice you into 1,000 pieces. I want you to experience the feeling of running for your life." Hun Dun was stunned at first, then he curled his lips and said, "You want to learn from that smelly girl? TSK, don't you think about your own weight? If you dare to touch even a single hair of mine, I will kill you." Before Hun Dun finished his words, he felt a sharp pain from his spiritual sense. He stared at Yun Chujio in disbelief. "Impossible. We signed an equal contract and my spiritual sense is much bigger than yours. How can you suppress me with your spiritual sense?" Yun Chujio ignored him. She held the kitchen knife and scratched Hun Dun's head. Hun Dun's long hair instantly fell to the ground. Hun Dun screamed miserably, "I'll fight you to the death." Unfortunately, its spiritual sense was suppressed by Yun Chujio. Could not resist at all. Before it could get up, it fell to the ground. Soon Hun Dun's head became bald. Hey Shinjio put away the kitchen knife and sneered. She picked up a brush and drew a lifelike bastard on Hun Dun's head. After Yun Chujio finished drawing, she said, "Buttface, what do you think of my drawing?" Buttface gloated, "Little fairy, your drawing is too realistic. You are indeed my idol. Not only are you devastatingly beautiful, but you are also versatile." Buttface's words were quickly interrupted by Hun Dun's scream. Hun Dun looked at the bald girl in the crystal mirror and felt his heart was about to break. Sorry for the inconvenience. Thank you very much. His long hair, his magnificent beauty, all of it had turned into bubbles. Especially that little bastard on top of his head who was actually grinning. It was simply a great humiliation. Hun Dun bared his teeth and pounced on Yun Chujio. If he did not kill her today, he would not be called Hun Dun. However, before he could even get close to Yun Chujio, he fell to the ground due to the intense pain of his divine sense. Hun Dun tried a few times, but the result was the same. It lay on the ground and wailed, "I don't want to live anymore. I don't have the face to see people anymore. I'm disfigured. I don't have my beauty anymore." Yun Chujio said faintly, "If you continue to howl, you won't just be bald lady anymore. Do you want to try the feeling of running for your life again?" Hun Dun's howl came to an abrupt end. If it was before, it might not believe that Yun Chujio would do such a terrible thing. But now it believed. Chapter 5141 The Leaving and Staying of the Five Gens. Seeing that Hun Dun was no longer howling, Yun Chujio said, "Hun Dun, what are you going to do with these 5 gen?" Hun Dun said in a stuttering voice, "Buy 1 get 5 free. It's up to you whether you want them or not." Yun Chujio knew that Hun Dun kept these 5 gen mostly for grooming it. However, she did not care about raising 5 more gen. Although Hun Dun said that their abilities were not that great, it did not matter if she kept them. She did not expect the 5 dugongs to show a pleading expression like humans. Yun Chujio did not understand what they meant, but Hun Dun did. It shouted impatiently, "Get lost. Get lost. Anyway, you are all clumsy, I don't care about you. When the time comes, I will find a few human girls to serve me and shave them all into bald heads." Yun Chujio's eyes flashed and then asked, "What happened to them?" Hun Dun said unhappily, "They don't want to leave the 10,000-year-old swamp. Since they have served me for so many years, I will let them go." Yun Chujio did not care about this. Her target was Hun Dun. As for the 5 gen, they did not have any ability, so she did not want them. Following that, the 5 gen quickly ran away. They were probably afraid that Hun Dun would go back on his word. Yun Chujio saw that there was nothing else and said to Hun Dun, let's go up. "Wait a moment, I want to take these fallen hair away with me." As Hun Dun spoke, he began to tidy up the fallen hair on the ground. As he tidied it up, he cried. He cried so hard that it was as if he was crying when he heard it. Yun Chujio rolled her eyes speechlessly and urged him, "Hurry up or else you'll have to run." Hearing that, Hun Dun quickly sped up and kept all the fallen hair. After exiting the cave, Yun Chujio kept Hun Dun into her spirit beast bag and then floated to the surface of the water. She did not want everyone to know that she had subdued Hun Dun. At least, she did not want to make it public for the time being. Everyone was burning with anxiety at this moment. When they saw Yun Chujio come out, they could not help but heave a sigh of relief. Yun Chujio said to everyone and the swamp demon beasts, that Hun Dun has disappeared for some unknown reason. Let's hurry and leave this place at this time. Everyone's expression was a little complicated. Old Tua and the others wanted to say something but hesitated. However, they still followed Yun Chujio's instructions and quickly crossed the celestial pond. "Sorry for the inconvenience. Thank you very much." After they had left the celestial pond for some distance, Old Tua found an opportunity to say to Yun Chujio, "Previously, there was an ancient and complicated pattern above the celestial pond. It looked like a contract. Could it be that you have subdued Hun Dun?" Yun Chujio's heart tightened. Oh no, she had actually forgotten about this matter. Hun Dun was an ancient ferocious beast. Naturally, there would be a huge commotion when it recognized its master. What should they do? However, this fellow thought about it. No one had seen it anyway. Even if she did not admit it, others could only guess and could not prove it. Therefore, this fellow said calmly, "I wanted to subdue it, but after we reached the bottom of the water, it suddenly disappeared just as it was about to eat me." Old General Tua was skeptical, but he did not continue to ask. The most important thing now was to leave this 10,000-year-old swamp as soon as possible. Other things were secondary. Mu Kelu and the others were also very suspicious, but they did not dare to offend Yun Chujio, so they naturally did not ask. However, they originally wanted to kill Yun Chujio after leaving the 10,000-year-old swamp, but now they did not dare to make a move. What if that stinky girl really subdued Hun Dun? Once they made a move, wouldn't they be courting death? Chapter 51-42, Blue Light. Although everyone had their own thoughts, they did not delay their journey. Whether it was the earth chi that was spreading continuously behind them or the 10,000-year-old swamp, everyone felt uneasy and wished they could leave this place immediately. Yun Chujio also felt uneasy. She recalled what Di Biming had said before. He felt that there was danger in the depths of this 10,000-year-old swamp. Sorry for the inconvenience. Thank you very much. That danger should not be referring to Hun Dun. After all, this thing was nothing to her. So what kind of danger was it? Yun Chujio thought of this and used her divine sense to look at the spirit beast bag. Then her face stiffened. She saw that inside the spirit beast bag, a few silly cubs were enthusiastically helping Hun Dun untie the knot in his long hair. Yun Chujio could not help but feel puzzled. These silly cubs were not easy to deal with. How could they be so cooperative with Hun Dun? Buttface quickly answered her question. Little fairy, this fool Hun Dun has a lot of good things and delicious food on him. He hired us to comb his hair as a reward. Yun Chujio, the corner of Yun Chujio's eyes twitched, and then she asked, Hun Dun, is there anything scary in this 10,000-year-old swamp? Hun Dun really didn't want to bother with Yun Chujio. He said unhappily, scary? Nothing is more scary than you in front of me. Hun Dun, do you really want to run away? Yun Chujio said coldly. Hun Dun immediately cowered and changed his face. What I mean is, you are so outstanding that nothing can stop you. Yun Chujio was speechless. She had realized that this Hun Dun was similar to Buttface in some aspects. However, this Hun Dun was more stupid. Stop talking nonsense and tell me honestly. Hun Dun gritted his teeth in his heart. However, the beast had no choice but to lower his head under the eaves. He said, I'm afraid that the mud will dirty my long hair, so I basically won't leave the pool. I've only heard from the 5 Gen that blue light would occasionally flash about 500 li away from the pool. I don't know what exactly it is. However, I've never heard of any demon beast being injured by the blue light, so it shouldn't be a big deal. Yun Chujio narrowed her eyes. Blue light? Could it be that the danger the pretty boy felt was the blue light? Yun Chujio did not know why, but she thought of the blue glass. However, the gigolo and her both had red glass on them, so she was not afraid. Thinking of this, Yun Chujio heaved a sigh of relief. She found an opportunity to tell the silver snake what had happened. The silver snake said with uncertainty, I can't sense the specific danger either. I'm just a little flustered. Let's just be careful. As they traveled, Yun Chujio saw the blue light that Hun Dun mentioned. From afar, the area in front of them was covered by the blue light. It looked beautiful. Someone exclaimed, It's so beautiful. Could it be that there's a treasure in front of us that is emitting such a dazzling light? Yun Chujio felt that something was wrong with the little silver snake in her sleeve pocket. A cold air came from the sleeve pocket and made her shiver. She reached into the sleeve and felt a layer of ice on the small silver snake's body. Yun Chujio's heart sank. It seemed that her guess was right. The blue light could trigger the cold poison in the pretty boy's body. Now that there was such a big effect even though they were so far away, wouldn't the pretty boy die if they went any further? Chapter 51-43. He was about to faint. Yun Chujio was in a dilemma. If she continued forward, Di Biming might be in danger because of the cold poison. However, if she did not continue forward, the earth chi would continue to approach her. Regardless of whether she advanced or retreated, it would be extremely dangerous. Di Biming seemed to have sensed Yun Chujio's thoughts and said with difficulty, I am fine. Hurry, and hurry. Yun Chujio gritted her teeth. If she encountered earth chi, she would definitely die. The blue light in front of her still had a chance of survival, so she could only continue forward. She bit her little finger and forced it into the small silver snake's mouth. She said fiercely, If you don't want to die, hurry up and suck it. Yun Chujio saw that the small silver snake did not have any reaction. She gritted her teeth and said, If you die, I will immediately marry someone else and turn your head into a prairie. This time the small silver snake finally made its move. However, the small silver snake's vertical pupils had a faint watery light pervading them. What he owed her, he would repay it with life and death. Regardless of life or death, he would never abandon her. When Yun Chujio saw that the small silver snake's condition was slightly better, her eyes darkened. She chose a swamp bloodthirsty crocodile and directly jumped onto its back, ordering it to move forward at the fastest speed. She turned her head and said to the crowd, "I'll go ahead and scout the way." After saying this, Yun Chujio sat on the swamp vampire crocodile and left. The crowd was dumbfounded. Was she going to scout the way or leaving them alone? However, fortunately, the swamp demon beasts were as usual, so their hearts were slightly more at ease. On the other side, Yun Chujio sat on the swamp vampire crocodile and swam for a distance. She couldn't help but frown. Although the swamp bloodthirsty crocodile's speed was relatively fast, she was still not satisfied. Moreover, there were occasionally some demonic beasts poking their heads out, wanting to wait for an opportunity to attack. Yun Chujio directly threw Hun Dun, who was enjoying the grooming service in the spiritual beast bag, into the swamp. Hun Dun cried out in the swamp, "Ah! My long hair. It's so dirty. Quickly take me in." Yun Chujio said coldly, "If you don't want to be bald forever, then quickly carry me out of here." Hun Dun was startled by Yun Chujio's cold tone and shut his mouth, not daring to say anything. Yun Chujio jumped onto Hun Dun's back and then put the swamp bloodthirsty crocodile into the spirit beast bag. The moment Yun Chujio sat on Hun Dun's back, Hun Dun shivered and thought, "Why is it so cold? Could it be because it had become bald?" Just as Hun Dun's thoughts were running wild, Yun Chujio tugged at its long fur and said, "Let's go." Hun Dun was furious. This damned brat was just as detestable as the brat in the mask. "Sorry for the inconvenience. Thank you very much." However, it did not dare to disobey and could only move forward quickly. Although Hun Dun was arrogant, it was still very fast in the swamp. It was more than 10 times faster than the bloodthirsty crocodile in the swamp. Yun Chujio took out the small silver snake from her sleeve and used the temperature of her hands to melt the thin ice on its body. Yun Chujio remembered that when she kissed Di Biming previously, Guai Chao would occasionally draw out the cold poison in Di Biming's body. Hence, she lowered her head and kissed the small silver snake. The small silver snake's body turned pink in an instant. The cold poison was instantly thrown out of the sky. Although he was now a snake, no, a dragon, but this was still him. He actually had skin-to-skin contact with the ugly girl? No, he was going to faint. Chapter 5144 was really unlucky. A certain amnesiac snake could not stand such a huge stimulation. The entire snake became even more stiff. A phrase kept flashing in its mind, "I was forcefully kissed. I was forcefully kissed. I was forcefully kissed." Yun Chujio did not know that this particular snake still had so much drama in its heart at this time. After a few kisses, it realized that there was no effect and did not kiss again. Hun Dun saw this scene clearly and cursed in his heart. This stinky girl was indeed a pervert. She actually took a fancy to a snake. And she even openly kissed each other. How shameless. However, it soon discovered that the small silver snake was the source of the chill. It was puzzled in its heart. How could this snake emit such a strong chill? As the distance between them got closer and closer, Yun Chujio also saw the source of the blue light clearly. There was actually a blue marble mine under the swamp. However, the pretty boy had red marble on his body, so why did it increase the frost poison? Thinking of this, Yun Chujio could not help but curse herself for being an idiot. Di Biming had now turned into a small silver snake. Firstly, he could not use his storage ring, and secondly, he could not activate the red marble. Yun Chujio immediately took out her red marble and activated it with her spiritual power. Di Biming's condition instantly improved a lot. Images of him and Yun Chujio in the ghost realm surfaced in his mind. Only then did he remember some things about the blazing red glass. "Sorry for the inconvenience. Thank you very much." Yun Chujio did not dare to stay any longer and hurriedly asked Hun Dun to carry her away. She faintly felt that it should not be as simple as the sapphire blue glass mine. There should be other dangers. However, at this moment, the blue marble ore suddenly split open from the middle and a huge suction force came from within. Hun Dun and Yun Chujio were both sucked in. Then, the blue marble ore sank into the mud as if it had never appeared. Yun Chujio found that her surroundings were dark and there was no light at all. She was going to take out the luminous pearl to light up, but she found that she could not open her storage ring. Her heart could not help but sink. At this moment she heard Hun Dun wailing, "It's over. It's over. I can't use spiritual power here. Not only am I disfigured, I'm going to lose my life. I'm really unlucky." Yun Chujio was annoyed by its call and shouted, "Shut up. What are you shouting for? You want to threaten us with the fruit? HMPH, you can't use spiritual power here. I'm not afraid of you at all." Hun Dun said angrily. It felt that it was extremely miserable. It was originally free and unfettered in the pool, but it was shaved bald by this smelly girl. Now that it was implicated by her in this damn place, couldn't it just shout a few words? It was really unreasonable. Yun Chujio couldn't be bothered with this idiot Hundun anymore. She had to think of a way to figure out what this place was so that she could leave this place. However, she couldn't use her storage ring. She didn't have anything to illuminate the place, so she didn't know what this place was. The Guai Chao in her dantian shook its leaves. If it wasn't for the fact that its little treasury had been used up, it could still illuminate the place for her and even help her leave. However, who asked her not to let her out before? She deserved it. At this moment, Di Biming said to her from inside his sleeve, blazing red, although the light from the glass is weak, it can also be used to illuminate. Yun Chujio suddenly realized that since she didn't have any spiritual power, the blazing red glass no longer had any suppressive effect on the blue marble. Di Biming's cold poison had increased again. Chapter 5145. Could she be? She quickly took out the small silver snake and the red glazed tile from her sleeve pocket. Under the faint light of the red glazed tile, Yun Chujio saw that the small silver snake's body was once again covered in ice, and it had already fainted. Her heart ached. Without thinking, she put the small silver snake directly into her arms, wanting to use the temperature of her body to alleviate his cold poison. She felt that the small silver snake seemed to be better, so she raised the fiery red glass in her hand to check the situation around her. Yun Chujio held the fiery red glass in her left hand and the large kitchen knife in her right hand. When she felt that something was wrong, her first reaction was to take out the large kitchen knife from her storage ring. This was her subconscious reaction. Because there was no light, Hundun did not see the large kitchen knife in Yun Chujio's hand before. Now that he saw it, he immediately shrunk his neck. Fortunately, it did not make any noise later. Otherwise, this stupid girl might really shave all its fur. Yun Chujio used the weak light from the red-colored glass to check. They should be in the blue charm glass mine now. What a good plan. The blue charm glass could activate the cold poison in the gigolo's body. Locking them here, they did not need to do anything to take the gigolo's life. When Hundun saw Yun Chujio's grave expression, he immediately cried out, "It's over. We will definitely die here. I didn't expect that I, a magnificent beast, would die so dirty in the end." The corner of Yun Chujio's eyes twitched. This Hundun was not only stupid, but he could not speak human language. What did he mean by dirty death? However, she quickly realized that what Hundun meant by dirty should be its long hair. As it had traveled in the mud for such a long time, its long hair was covered in mud, and its original appearance could not be seen at all. "Don't worry, we won't die," Yun Chujio said lightly. "Won't die? Don't deceive yourself. This is obviously in the mine and we can't use spiritual power now. I don't even have claws, how can I get out?" Hundun asked dejectedly. "Sorry for the inconvenience. Thank you very much." Yun Chujio picked up the large kitchen knife and slashed at a mine wall. Kacha, a crack instantly appeared on the mine wall. Hundun was stunned at first, then he shouted, "No wonder your lousy kitchen knife can shave off my hair. It's so powerful. It's as powerful as that stinky girl's axe." Yun Chujio's heart moved and she asked, "What axe?" Hundun said angrily, "It's that stupid girl's axe with the mask. She used an axe to cut off my long hair." Yun Chujio thought the big kitchen knife should be the Heaven Punisher Divine Axe. So, the Heaven Punisher Divine Axe was originally hers? Then why did it end up in the ancient sword tomb? And why did it become a big kitchen knife? Yun Chujio did not know if it was an illusion, but she felt the large kitchen knife in her hand tremble slightly. She chuckled and said, "Regardless of whether you are the Heaven Punisher Divine Axe or the large kitchen knife, we are all partners fighting side by side." Yun Chujio really felt the large kitchen knife tremble again. She could not help but reveal a trace of a smile. She touched the blade of the knife with her hand and continued to chop the cliff wall. Hundun was confused. What did that damn girl mean? What did she mean by "no matter if you are the Heaven Punisher axe or the kitchen knife, we are all partners fighting side by side"? Why was it a little confused? Why did it feel like something was wrong? Jade Bodhi leaf, little bastard, kitchen knife. Could it be that she was? Chapter 5146 Was only because you were you, Hundun cried out in surprise. You are that stinky girl wearing a mask? No, your age is not right, are you her reincarnation? Yun Chujio turned her head and smiled brightly at Hundun. You finally reacted? Long time no see, I miss you so much, I will treat you well in the future. Hundun suddenly felt that the entire beast was in bad shape. It felt that the beast had no hope. It had actually fallen into the hands of its enemy, and it even acknowledged the thief as its father. No, it acknowledged the thief as its master. How stupid was it? For the first time, Hun Dun doubted its own intelligence and fell into an indescribable tragedy. Just as it was feeling depressed, Yun Chujo said to it, "I'm tired from chopping, you do it?" Hun Dun lay on the ground helplessly and said, "I don't have claws, so I can't hold the knife." Yun Chujo sneered, "Don't you have long hair? If it's so useless, then shave it all off." Hun Dun immediately jumped up from the ground, "I'm just kidding. As the saying goes, it's better to have claws than no claws at this time. Please rest, I'll do it." Yun Chujo looked at it speechlessly and then handed the large kitchen knife to it. Hun Dun used its long hair to hold the hilt of the knife and began to chop the rock wall. Seeing that it was chopping smoothly, Yun Chujo took out the small silver snake from her bosom to check the situation. Although the ice on the small silver snake's body was melted by Yun Chujio's body temperature, it was still in a coma. Yun Chujio bit her little finger again and dripped the blood into the small silver snake's mouth. Although Hun Dun did not have eyes, it did not hinder it from seeing things. When it saw Yun Chujio's actions, it cursed in its heart. Tsk, this wretched girl was still a lover. She was actually so affectionate towards a snake. However, from the conversation between her and the snake, it seemed that the snake was originally a human. It was really too complicated. Forget it, I should just do my job honestly. It still wanted to use its beauty to conquer the world, it could not die here. At this moment, the silver snake woke up. When it saw Yun Chujio feeding it blood again, it immediately struggled with difficulty. Yun Chujio did not continue feeding it. Although her blood was useful in restraining the cold poison, its effect was limited. As long as the pretty boy's life was not in danger, it was fine. It was unknown whether it was because of the cold poison acting up or because of the blood on Yun Chujio's finger. She asked the question that had been buried in her heart ever since she lost her memory, "Not only am I unable to protect you, I even dragged you down. Is it worth it for you to do this?" Hun Dun immediately pricked up its ears. Although its 2 ears were for decoration, it at least represented its burning desire to gossip. Then it heard Yun Chujio's voice with a faint smile, "There is nothing worth it, just because you are you." Hun Dun curled its lips. It thought that it would hear some touching words of love, but it actually said such a sentence. What did she mean by "just because you are you"? Wasn't this nonsense? The vertical pupils of the small silver snake were filled with a layer of mist. He slowly said, "I got it. Don't worry, I will always be me." Hun Dun curled his lips once again. No wonder they had formed a pair. They were a pair of fools. Yun Chujio smiled and nodded. In fact, she wanted to cry. However, she knew that she could not cry. "Sorry for the inconvenience. Thank you very much." Perhaps others would think that she had suffered more in this relationship because she had fed D-Biming blood. She was implicated because of D-Biming. Even the time they spent together was limited. However, she knew that D-Biming had suffered more than she had. Chapter 5147 felt that they were very compatible. D-Biming was a very proud person, but he was unable to protect the woman she loved. His heart must be in pain. Not to mention he even needed Yun Chujio to protect him. To him, this was 10,000 times more painful than any torture. Not to mention he also had to bear the unknown dangers that Yun Chujio did not know. If it were not for him keeping those people from the Divine Demon Hall in check, Yun Chujio would not be so happy in the other continents and enjoy the same life as ordinary people. Even in her past life. Although Yun Chujio did not know what happened in her past life, she vaguely felt that this cold poison seemed to be related to her. Otherwise, her blood would not have such an effect. She recalled Qi Ying's words that they were enemies in her previous life and could not help but curl her lips. Although she did not have the memories of her previous life, she, Yun Chujio, had never been a woman who was restricted by the secular world. Love was love. No matter what happened in her previous life, she would definitely want D-Biming. No one or anything could tear them apart. Even if the heavenly Tao did not allow it, she would defy the heavens and change her fate. She would never yield. When Hun Dun saw the appearance of the man and the snake, he did not know why, but his heart felt a little sour. Tsk, he felt that they were a good match. Was it blind? Yun Chujio calmed her emotions and prepared to let Hun Dun rest for a while. Hence, she placed the small silver snake in her arms again. Previously, the small silver snake had lost consciousness, so it was nothing. However, it was different now. A sentence appeared in his mind. No, a poem. Only a small lotus would show its sharp horns. Almost in an instant, the small silver snake felt its body become slightly hot. Even the cold poison could not suppress the burning heat. He felt that it was not good. It seemed that he was about to transform. Yun Chujio also felt that the small silver snake seemed to be a little strange. She quickly took it out from her bosom. Before she could take a closer look, the small silver snake fell to the ground, emitting a dazzling white light. After the white light dissipated, a certain lord used all his strength and roared in embarrassment, "Close your eyes for me." Yun Chujio quickly covered her eyes with her hands and said, don't worry. I'm covering my eyes." The lord looked at the gaps between Hei Xinjia's fingers and her lecherous eyes. He was so angry that he almost passed out. He wanted to use something to cover his eyes, but he couldn't use his spiritual power here, so he couldn't use his storage ring. Therefore he could only be naked. "Sorry for the inconvenience. Thank you very much." Moreover, after he turned into a human, the cold poison was even more severe, and he could not move even if he wanted to. After Yun Chujio had seen enough, she took off her coat and covered a certain deity's body. She said hypocritically, "Oh, Prince Charming, the weather is so cold, don't freeze yourself." Of course, during the process of covering him, he did not forget to touch him. It was simply wonderful. Hun Dun watched the entire process, but when his gaze landed on Di Biming's face, he shivered and did not dare to say a word. He obediently continued to hack at the rock wall. At this moment, the feelings of a certain being could not be described with words. He wished that he could pass out immediately. However, he was so clear-headed that he could not be more clear-headed. Moreover, almost at this moment, some of the not-so-good memories of the fruit run surfaced. Yun Chujio blinked her eyes and her gaze fell on a certain man's tightly pursed lips. She said slyly, "Prince Charming, come, let's kiss. Maybe we can suck out the cold poison." A certain man's face suddenly turned red. Although he had kissed her just now, she was not in human form after all. Now she had to kiss him again. Was it inappropriate? Chapter 51-48. There was still a long way to go at this moment. A certain being's mental state was extremely complicated. As he had lost his memory, this was still his first kiss. Chimim, it didn't count when he turned into a snake. Seeing Yun Chujio's moist red lips getting closer and closer, the certain being's little heart was beating violently, almost jumping out of his chest. However, a dazzling white light flashed, and the certain being once again turned into a small silver snake. A certain being was in a very good mood at the moment. Although he was a little glad that he had avoided the ending of being kissed forcefully, he was more disappointed. Of course he wouldn't say it out loud. Hei Xinjiu sighed, "What a pity. Forget it, there's still time in the future." She didn't really want to take advantage of a certain being. She wanted to make his mood change more intensely. This way it might have some effect on restraining the cold poison. Of course, this guy would definitely not admit that she also had a little bit of lust in her. When a certain someone heard the words, "There will be plenty of time in the future," a sweet feeling welled up in his heart for some unknown reason. That's right, the ugly girl was his fiancée. They would spend a lot of time together in the future. However, when he thought of the mastermind behind the scenes, his heart was filled with boundless anger. Who exactly wanted to take his life? Such a huge sum of money, one could imagine the strength of the person behind the scenes. But so what? He had never been afraid. Thinking of this, a certain honored guest felt a little guilty. It didn't seem like he was fearless, right? However, a certain honored guest quickly threw this thought to the back of his mind. Towards that ugly girl he wasn't afraid, but he was just accommodating. Yes, that was it. Hei Xinjiu did not know about the complicated mental activities of a certain being. Seeing that the silver snake was in better condition, she took out a blanket and placed the silver snake on the ground. Then she said to Hun Dun, "Take a rest. I'll do it." Hun Dun handed the large kitchen knife to Yun Chujio and moved to the side of the silver snake. His eyes, which did not have eyes, sized up the silver snake sneakily. By accident he met the cold eyes of the small silver snake. Hun Dun's tiger body immediately trembled, and he shrank to the side without daring to make a sound. After Yun Chujio saw Hun Dun's cowardly look, she could not help but wonder why Buttface and Hun Dun were so afraid of the gigolo. Although the gigolo was the so-called Xingzun, she was still the ghost ancestor. Why were they not so afraid of her? It was really strange. Although this guy was puzzled, he didn't have time to think about it. All he wanted to do now was to break the rock wall and get out as soon as possible so that Di Biming wouldn't have to suffer so much. Yun Chujio and Hun Dun took turns to fight. After 2 days and 2 nights of fighting, they vaguely heard a slight noise outside. Yun Chujio couldn't help but feel happy. It seemed that they were going to break the rock wall. "Sorry for the inconvenience." "Thank you very much. However, at this moment the entire blue marble mine trembled violently. It was about to collapse. Hun Dun cursed anxiously, "Damn it, it's over, it's going to be buried alive." Yun Chujio was also extremely anxious. Since the ball of yarn did not move, it meant that the great void mirror could not enter. Moreover, even if she could enter, she would not abandon Beiming and escape alone. However, what should she do? Determination flashed across the small silver snake's vertical pupils. "He'll do it." Yun Chujio's first reaction was to stop him because she knew that once Beiming did that, there would definitely be extremely serious consequences. Hence she shouted, "Stop. I have a way. Prince Charming, I really have a way, don't take the risk." Hun Dun curled his lips. At this time he was still showing off their love. Shameless. Chapter 5149. Reunion. Beiming did not believe Yun Chujio's words and asked, "Do you have any ideas?" Yun Chujio thought to herself, how could she have any ideas? But no matter what, she could not let Beiming take the risk. At this moment there were already tiny rocks falling down. It was estimated that this place would collapse very soon. Yun Chujio bit her lips. What should she do? What should she do? At this moment she could not think of a solution at all. Hun Dun could not care about anything else. He shouted, "Your Holiness, don't listen to her. Hurry up and make your move. Otherwise we will all die here." Yun Chujio wished that she could strangle Hun Dun to death. She tried to dissuade him, "Male God, wait a little longer. I will definitely think of a solution." Beiming did not listen to her this time because he knew that she had no solution. He was the only one who could make a move. Although the price after taking action was a little heavy, it was still better than dying here. Just as Beiming was about to use his secret technique, the kitchen knife in Yun Chujio's hand suddenly flashed with red light. She broke free from Yun Chujio's hand and slashed at the cliff wall. Immediately mud gushed in. Fortunately, Yun Chujio's spiritual power had recovered. She quickly raised her spiritual power barrier and enveloped herself and the small silver snake. Yun Chujio put away her big kitchen knife and sat on Hun Dun's back. She grabbed its long hair tightly and shouted at the dazed Hun Dun, "What are you still standing there for? Why aren't you taking us out?" Only then did Hun Dun come back to his senses. He thought to himself, has this broken kitchen knife become a spirit? However, it also knew that this was not a place to stay for long. It swam upwards at its fastest speed. Hun Dun's speed was very fast, especially in order to escape for its life. It was extraordinary, and in the blink of an eye, it had already brought Yun Chujio up to the top. The moment Yun Chujio saw the sky, her nose turned sour and she almost cried. "Woo, I don't have to die. I can use my beauty to conquer the world again." Hun Dun shouted with his mouth wide open. Yun Chujio glared at it. She had not forgotten that it had instigated a certain lord to use a secret technique. Hun Dun could not help but feel guilty after being glared at by her. He quickly changed the topic. "It might not be safe here. Let's leave this place quickly." After saying that, the thing brought Yun Chujio and swam forward quickly. Yun Chujio curled her lips and ignored it. Anyway, there was still a long way to go. She judged the direction and looked around. She could not help but be stunned. The Earth aura had actually disappeared? However, it was also true. The Earth aura had originally wanted to force her to the vicinity of the blue marble mine. After the mission was completed, it naturally disappeared. Only then did Yun Chujio remember the people of the land family. However, she was not too worried. After all, there were those swamp demon beasts. Mu Kelu and the others did not dare to do anything to the people of the land family. Just as they were about to leave the swamp area, Yun Chujio kept Hun Dun and switched to the swamp bloodthirsty crocodile. 2 hours later, Yun Chujio saw many people standing on a hard ground from afar. When she got closer, she realized that it was Lan Dimeo and the others. Everyone was pleasantly surprised when they saw Yun Chujio. Lan Luofang cried, "Little Jiu, I knew that you would be fine. After all, the scourge lives for 1,000 years. You will definitely not die." Yun Chujio, "Sorry for the inconvenience. Thank you very much." After everyone greeted her, Yun Chujio asked, "Why didn't I see the people from the other 3 families? Are they all dead?" Everyone, Lan Dimeo sneered and said, "After they arrived here, they took the swamp boat and left. If they weren't worried about these swamp beasts, they would have directly attacked." Chapter 5150. The psychological trauma of Hun Dun. Yun Chujio was not surprised by this. The 3 families and the Lan family had always been using each other. If it wasn't for the matter of the blue marble mine, she had originally planned to get rid of them before they came out of the swamp. However, God's plan wasn't as good as people's plans, so it was too easy for them. However, the three families might even set up an ambush on the way back to the Lan family. After Yun Chujio told him her guess, Lan Dimeo sneered and said, "That's for sure. After we leave the 10,000-year-old swamp, we'll find a place where we can send a voice transmission talisman and ask our ancestors to send people to pick us up." Yun Chujio didn't say anything more after hearing what he said. Anyway, even if there were no reinforcements, she might not be afraid of them. If it was really impossible, she could still make Hun Dun sing to confuse them. At this moment, Hun Dun said in a bad mood, "Don't count on me." Yun Chujio asked coldly, "Are you trying to run away?" "It's not that I don't want to help you. Who asked you to shave all the long hair on my head? Only when the long hair on my head grows out, can I sing," Hun Dun said with some grievance. Yun Chujio sneered, "Do you think I'm easy to fool? This is the first time I've heard that singing has something to do with the hair on my head. According to you, all baldies can't sing anymore? Isn't this all because of you? The incident where you shaved me off in your previous life had caused me serious psychological trauma, so I can't sing when I think about my baldness now," Hun Dun said with a sobbing voice. Yun Chujio saw that it didn't look like it was lying, and there was a rare hint of pain in its conscience. She guessed that Hun Dun was probably telling the truth. After all, it could not sing when it heard the voice of the jade glass Bodhi leaf. Clearly, it really had a psychological trauma. Yun Chujio softened her tone. "Then how long will it take for the long hair on your head to grow back?" "I can't say for sure. It will take at least a few hundred years," Hun Dun said. Yun Chujio, she finally understood why Hun Dun's psychological trauma was so big. Anyone who ran for hundreds of years would collapse, okay. However, she immediately threw a basin of hair-growing pills into the spiritual beast bag and said to Hun Dun, "Rub it on me 8 times a day. I promise that your long hair will grow back very quickly." Hun Dun asked in confusion, "What is this? Hair-growing pills?" Hun Dun was stunned at first, then she jumped happily, "Hair-growing pills? Does that mean that after I rub it on, my long hair will grow back very quickly?" "Yes. But I haven't used it on a beast, so I'm not sure about the effect." "You can try it," Yun Chujio said. Hun Dun couldn't care less about Yun Chujio, so he immediately hired Buttface to apply hair growth pill on it. Yun Chujio remembered the abnormality of the big kitchen knife, so she immediately took out the big kitchen knife from her storage ring. However, she found that the big kitchen knife didn't seem to be any different from before. It seemed that it would take some time for it to fully wake up. Although Yun Chujio was a little disappointed, she didn't take it to heart. She believed that the weapon spirit of the kitchen knife would awaken sooner or later, so she wasn't in a hurry. However, she didn't think too much about Qiling. A moment later, Yun Chujio brought everyone on the swamp boat and left the hard ground. Of course, before she left, she gave a lot of demon beast meat and medicinal pills to the demon beasts in the swamp. She was still very honest. Those demon beasts were simply happy. These demon beast meat and pills were a small matter. They had heard from the swamp bloodthirsty crocodile that the fiend inside the celestial pond had been subdued by that smelly girl. Haha, in the future they could bathe in the celestial pond and think about the birth of beasts. Sorry for the inconvenience. Thank you very much. Chapter 51 Burning bridges. After crossing the river, although there were some minor waves in the next few days, it was not a big deal. On this day, the members of the Lan family finally left the 10,000-year-old swamp. Although they were a little worried that the other 3 families would set up an ambush, it was still much better than staying in the 10,000-year-old swamp. Yun Chujio said to Lan Dimeo, "Uncle, Grandpa, the old ancestor will definitely think of this. Perhaps he has already arranged reinforcements so we don't have to worry too much." Lan Dimeo felt that what Yun Chujio said made sense. The old ancestor was wise, so he should have made some arrangements, so he was not so worried. After walking for about half a day, they were about to leave the no-fly zone, but the road ahead was blocked by someone. The leader was Mu Kelu and the others. The Mu family had lost a lot of manpower in the 10,000-year-old swamp. When they left the 10,000-year-old swamp, there were less than 500 people left. At this time there were 3,000 to 4,000 people. It was obvious that reinforcements had arrived. Mu Kelu and the others' gazes paused on Yun Chujio for a moment. This wretched girl was really lucky. She was actually still alive? Mu Kelu said with a fake smile, "Brother Dimeo, we meet again?" Lan Dimeo sneered, "What? Are you guys planning to burn the bridge after crossing the river?" Mu Kelu laughed out loud, "Don't make it sound so bad. In the 10,000-year-old swamp, we are just using each other. Brother Dimeo, I advise you to kill yourself. This way you won't suffer unnecessary pain." Lan Dimeo snorted. "Your 3 families have reinforcements. Our Lan family also has reinforcements. It's not certain who will win. Don't be so full of yourself. Hearing Lan Dimeo's words, Mu Kelu and the others laughed even more savagely. Zhuang Ruhai said mockingly, reinforcements? Don't even think about it. Didn't you notice that Lan Luohan and Lan Luoshan aren't in the team? They put on a show with us to make your Lan family's reinforcements think that you're all dead, so they quickly escorted the two of them back to the Lan family. The Lan family's 3 branches will soon be in our hands, and the entire Lan family will be ours sooner or later. As for you, only death awaits you. Lan Dimeo almost fainted from anger. There was no way to use the voice transmission talisman here, so the message was cut off. That was why the 2 ingrates were allowed to succeed. Yun Chuzhou saw that Lan Dimeo was so angry that he couldn't say a word. She laughed softly. You guys are really stupid. You didn't know how to cherish your dog life back in the 10,000-year-old swamp, but you actually jumped in front of me again. You're really courting death. Zhuang Ruhai and the others were suspicious when they heard her words. Could this wretched girl have some trump card? Qi Tianhui had been beaten up by Qi Anqing a few times because of Yun Chuzhou, so he naturally hated her to the bone. He immediately said angrily, Grandfather, don't listen to her bluff. No matter how much evil she has, she's still not a match for so many of us. When Qi Anqing and the others heard this, they agreed. There were more than 3,000 of them, while the Lan family only had around 300 people. No matter what, the Lan family was doomed. Immediately, Qi Anqing and the others were about to make a move, but they heard Yun Chuzhou sneer. If you are not afraid of dying from the poison, then make a move. Anyway, with you all taking the fall, we don't care. Sorry for the inconvenience. Thank you very much. Qi Anqing and the others were stunned. What do you mean? Nothing much. I just poisoned you when we were in the 10,000-year-old swamp. The poison is not very powerful. It will only make you die, Yun Chuzhou said lightly. Chapter 51-52 Compromised. Qi Anqing and the rest heard this and subconsciously looked inside, but they didn't find anything unusual. Mu Kelu immediately sneered, Yun Chuzhou, you're lying. We weren't poisoned at all. Yun Chuzhou shrugged her shoulders. It doesn't matter, believe it or not. Anyway, your Mu family has always been good at refining pills. Even if the poison takes effect, you can still develop an antidote. Yun Chuzhou's words made Zhuang Ruhai and Qi Anqing feel a little uncertain. The reason was very simple. Previously in the blood-cursed miasma forest, the detoxification pills taken by the Lan family were much more powerful than the detoxification pills of the Mu family. If Yun Chuzhou really poisoned them, would the Mu family be able to cure them? Mu Kelu clearly sensed the thoughts of the two of them. His face was a little embarrassed as he said coldly, even if you really did poison them, he'll just kill you and find the antidote. Yun Chuzhou spread out her hands. I'm sorry, but I don't have any antidote on me. Besides, I don't intend to give you the antidote. Let's all die together. Don't worry, I'm a soft-hearted person. Therefore, even if the poison takes effect, you won't die immediately. Your skin and flesh will rot bit by bit. It'll take at least a month for you to die completely. Qi Anqing and the others couldn't help but feel a chill run down their spines when they heard her words. For a moment, they weren't sure if what Yun Chuzhou said was true or not. It wouldn't matter if it was false, but if it was true, wouldn't they also die if they killed her? Sorry for the inconvenience. Thank you very much. They tried to see a flaw in Yun Chuzhou's face, but they couldn't see anything. Mu Kelu gritted his teeth in anger. This bitch is definitely spouting nonsense. It doesn't matter even if she really poisoned us. Well, kill everyone else and leave her alive. We're not afraid that she won't hand over the antidote. Yun Chuzhou laughed crisply. As long as you kill one member of the Lan family, you won't be able to get the antidote. I'm a man of my word. If you don't believe me, you can try. If you push me too far, I'll return to the 10,000-year-old swamp. You won't be able to find me for the rest of your lives. However, your lives will end very soon. What a pity. Mu Kelu was about to speak when Zhuang Ruhai said with a gloomy face, How can you hand over the antidote? As long as we return to the Lan family's territory, I will give you the formula for the antidote, Yun Chuzhou said with a smile. How do we know if you will go back on your word? Zhuang Ruhai asked again. Don't worry about that. I always keep my word. I don't even know how to lie to demonic beasts, so why would I lie to you? Are you worse than beasts? Zhuang Ruhai almost fainted from anger. However, Yun Chuzhou's arrogance made him believe a little more about the poison. He had always been suspicious, especially after the incident in the blood-cursed miasma forest. He did not have much confidence in the Mu family's alchemy skills. He gritted his teeth and said, How about this? you hand over the few of us as hostages. When the time comes, use the antidote formula as a condition. Yun Chujio thought for a moment and then nodded in agreement. As for the choice of the hostage, ordinary guards would definitely not be able to do it, so Lan Luoqing and Lan Luomu were taken as hostages. The two of them looked very calm and did not show any signs of panic. After experiencing so many dangers, this little matter was already nothing to them. More importantly, they believed in Yun Chujio. Although Mu Kelu was somewhat dissatisfied with Zhuang Ruhai's decision, he could not dissuade the Zhuang family and the Qi family, so he could only agree with a gloomy face. The Guaichao and Yun Chujia's Dantian was twitching. These idiots actually believed it? Fight. Only by starting a war could it have the chance to save up a small amount of money? Chapter 51-53 Hair loss. At this time, Qi Tianhui jumped out and shouted, "Grandfather, how can we be sure that she gave us the real antidote?" Qi Anqing said coldly, "If she dares to deceive us, the Lan family must be prepared to bear the wrath of our three families." He was certain that Yun Chujio would not dare to deceive them with a fake antidote. If she really dared to do that, the Mu family, Zhuang family, and Qi family would have a legitimate reason to punish the Lan family. Yun Chujio was not that stupid. Yun Chujio said with a smile, "Don't worry, I've already said it. I never lie." Once she said this, not to mention the Qi family and others, even the Lan family expressed that they did not believe her. Immediately, everyone set off and left. A few days later, everyone arrived at the Lan family's territory. After the Lan family's ancestor received the news, he had already sent reinforcements. Yun Chujio handed the prescription to Mu Kelu. Mu Kelu looked at the dog-like handwriting on it and could not help but twitch his lips. When he saw the medicinal herbs listed on it, he could not help but frown. He knew all the medicinal herbs listed on it, but some of the medicinal herbs had conflicting medicinal properties. Was this really the antidote prescription? After he voiced his doubts, Yun Chujio looked at him with disdain. Speculations without facts as evidence are all nonsense. You'll know when you go back and refine it. Mu Kelu and the other two discussed. Yun Chujio would not dare to lie to them. She immediately released Lan Luoqing and Lan Luomu, gave them a warning and then left. Before Mu Zian left, she stared at Yun Chujio for a long time with poison-like eyes before leaving. Yun Chujio did not put her in her eyes at all. She was happily planning her next move. She had already completed the task that the old fox had given her. In that case, Lan Luoqin would not come out again for a while. Moreover, she also had the right to compete for the position of the young master of the Lan family. It was simply wonderful. What made her even happier was that the condition of the little silver snake was much better. It was estimated that it would soon return to its human form. Of course, there was also something that made her unhappy. That was that Hun Dun cried all day long. It was so annoying. After this fellow applied the hair growth pill, no one knew what went wrong. Not only did the hair on his head not grow out, it even shed hair and was bald. Hun Dun's current appearance was simply too horrible to look at. Sorry for the inconvenience. Thank you very much. I don't want to live anymore. I can't accept my ugly appearance now. Black-hearted, you return my long hair, you return my prosperous beauty. Yun Chujio was too embarrassed to scold it due to her guilty conscience. She was puzzled in her heart. This hair growth pill was supposed to be very useful, but how did it become a hair loss pill on Hun Dun's body? This fellow could only comfort Hun Dun. Calm down, calm down. When I return to the Lan family, I will definitely develop a better hair growth pill for you. Hun Dun no longer trusted her. A better hair growth pill? If it trusted her again, the last few tufts of hair would probably be lost as well. 2 days later, everyone arrived at the imperial city. The moment everyone saw the imperial city, an unprecedented sense of belonging arose in their hearts. Lan Luofang and Lan Luofang even started to cry. After everyone entered the city, they went straight to the ancestral residence. The Lan family's ancestor inquired for a while before letting them go back to rest, leaving only Elder Tua behind. After everyone left, an old man wearing a mask walked out from behind the screen. Elder Tua clearly recognized him and nodded slightly as a greeting. The ancestor of the Lan family asked a few more details before saying with a smile, that little girl definitely did not poison them. With just her mouth she solved many problems. Chapter 51-54, What's the use of you? The masked elder sighed. Her strategy is indeed outstanding, but her spiritual power is a little low. Master, are you really going to praise her and give her this opportunity? The old ancestor of the Lan family sighed and did not speak for a long time. When old Tua and the masked elder thought that he would not speak again, they heard him say with a somewhat weathered tone, "Giving her a chance is also giving the Lan family a chance." Hei Shinjio naturally did not know about the conversation between the three of them. This guy followed Lan Dimeo back to the third branch of the Lan family. She thought that she would see a good show, but she only found out that the show had ended when she reached the third branch. After receiving Lan Dimeo's voice transmission talisman, the ancestor of the Lan family killed the Zhuang family and the others in a thunderous manner. Even Zhuang Shi's family was massacred overnight. Yin Chujio was somewhat touched. Compared to the ancestor of the Lan family, she was still a little tender and she was also a little soft-hearted. After some self-reflection, this guy returned to his own courtyard. Hong Ling and the other two saw that Yun Chujio had returned safely, so they were naturally extremely happy. After Yun Chujio bathed, she called Hong Ling over and inquired, but there was no useful information. After dinner, this guy suddenly remembered the matter between Shui Wuji and Yun Qi. He immediately took out Shui Wuji's voice transmission talisman and sent it over. "Brother Wuji, do you have a wife and a son?" After receiving the voice transmission talisman, Shui Wuji almost threw it out. After a while, he said, "Little sister Jiu, what nonsense are you talking about? I'm still single." After Yun Chujio received his reply, she snorted coldly, "Brother Wuji, since you're not telling the truth, then I have nothing to say. Oh right, I found a son-in-law for my future daughter. His nickname is Rue Air." On the other side, Shui Wuji fell to the ground with a thud. His head was buzzing and he was shocked and confused. And Feng looked at him speechlessly and asked, "Young Master Wuji, what happened to you?" Shui Wuji mumbled, "I saw a ghost. I saw a ghost." And Feng, Shui Wuji pinched himself hard to calm himself down. How did little sister Jiu know about Rue Air? He even asked if he had a wife and a son? Could it be that she had met that unfaithful woman? When he thought of this possibility, Shui Wuji was both excited and embarrassed. If little sister Jiu and that facial paralysis knew that he had been raped, oh God. He was too ashamed to face anyone. After a long while, Shui Wuji asked with a trembling voice, "Little sister Jiu, how did you know?" When Yun Chujio heard Shui Wuji's words, she curled her lips. It seemed that it was true. TSK, it had to be said that fate was really amazing. Wu Jia's head and Chi Chi had actually become a couple and they even had a son. When he thought about the two of them not only having sex, but also having a son that was already so big, this fellow looked at the small silver snake that was cultivating. He opened his mouth and said silently, "What's the use of having you?" Coincidentally, the little silver snake turned his head around and happened to see him. However, he did not know how to read lips, so he asked, "What did you say?" Yun Chujio said without blushing, "I said, I love you to death." The little silver snake's heart instantly bloomed like 100 flowers, but he said coldly, "Sorry for the inconvenience. Thank you very much." Yun Chujio cursed in her heart, this tsundere. However, the fact that they could not have sex was not the fault of the gigolo. It was mainly caused by that damn Guai Chao. Chapter 51-55. A howl every day. The Guai Chao and its dantian knew that it was going to be scolded again. It didn't matter, just scold it. If it retaliated, it wouldn't be called Go Weiba. Of course, the main reason was that it couldn't retaliate even if it wanted to. Who asked it to not be able to speak? It hadn't been in a good mood recently because it knew that after returning to the Lan family, Yun Chujio wouldn't let it out. It didn't have the chance to accumulate a small amount of money. It was fine if it had never gone out before, but this time it had gone out for such a long time. It was simply too uncomfortable to keep it in its dantian. Sorry for the inconvenience. Thank you very much. This fellow was begging the gods and Buddhas in its heart. Hurry up and give the smelly girl some trouble. The more troublesome it was, the better. This way it would have a chance to get out. If Hei Shinjio knew that this fellow was so eager to cause chaos in the world, she would probably be furious to death. After cursing Guai Chao dozens of times, he finally replied to Shui Wuji, "You're really lucky. You slept with Chi Chi and didn't get killed by her. You're really lucky." After receiving Yun Chujio's reply, Shui Wuji smiled bitterly in his heart. It was true that he slept with the unfaithful woman first, but she was the one who slept with him later, okay? Thinking of those romantic things, Shui Wuji's face and ears turned red. And Feng, who was standing at the side, was dumbfounded. What kind of wind was this? Shui Wuji calmed himself down with great difficulty and sent a voice transmission to Yun Chujio. "Where did you meet her? Are you together? Is she good with Rue Air?" Yun Chujio replied very quickly this time, "I don't know where she and Rue Air are either, but they seem to be pretty good. Let's talk about the details when we meet." After receiving the reply, Shui Wuji immediately jumped up and said to Enfeng, "Don't be lazy. Let's get down to business." Enfeng was speechless. He was obviously tired from making too much noise and wanted to rest, but now it was his fault? Yun Chujio put away Shui Wuji's voice transmission talisman and thought about the situation of Chi-Chi and her son. Chi-Chi and Ruier looked pretty good, so they shouldn't be in any danger. She just didn't know where they were. Just as she was thinking about it, Hun Dun began to howl again every day. "My long hair. My beauty. I don't want to live anymore." Yun Chujio was really annoyed by his howl. She shouted, "Shut up. They'll give you a postgraduate hair pill tomorrow." Hun Dun cried, "I won't fall for your trick again. You don't have good intentions at all. You just don't want me to be well. You're just jealous of my beauty." Yun Chujio was speechless. She only wanted to give this guy 2 words: retard. Where did he get the courage to think that she would be jealous of him? Could it be that the baldy gave him the courage? However, when this guy thought that the reason why Hun Dun was so miserable was most likely because of her, he patiently said, "You're my spiritual pet. Of course, I also want you to be as powerful as possible, so I sincerely want to help you refine the hair growth pill. Don't worry, this time I will first use other demon beasts for experiments and then give it to you to consume." After hearing these words, Hun Dun finally stopped and prepared to give Yun Chujio another chance. If this time it still failed, it would howl to death. Therefore, from the second day onwards, Yun Chujio began to refine hair growth pills that were suitable for demon beasts. However, for some reason, even though she had improved the prescription, the demon beasts that were used for experiments still ran away. This guy was very confused. What exactly went wrong? Chapter 51-56, Green Sweater. Yun Chujio could not figure it out. Just when she was feeling frustrated, Hun Dun howled again. "You black-hearted person, you must have done it on purpose. You obviously have a way to stimulate the growth of hair, but you pretended not to have it. You're too bad." Yun Chujio said unhappily, "What nonsense are you talking about? If I had a good way, would I not tell you?" Hun Dun snorted coldly, "Humph. What a nice way of saying it. You really know a person's face but not his heart. Explain to me what's with this long-haired rabbit." "I've investigated it thoroughly. It was originally just an ordinary wind-blade rabbit. But after eating your medicinal pill, not only has its grade increased a lot, but it also has such an attractive body of long hair. Therefore you're just trying to fool me. You obviously have such a good medicinal pill, yet you didn't give it to me. You're really too heartless." Yun Chujio was stunned. She had really forgotten about the long-haired rabbit. However, back then, in order to test the antidote for the rejuvenation pill, she had muddle-headedly allowed a few rabbits to mutate. As for how they mutate, she had no idea at all. When Hun Dun saw that Yun Chujio did not make a sound, he thought that she had a guilty conscience and howled even more fiercely. Yun Chujio regained her senses and said coldly, "Shut up. If you continue to howl, I will also pull off the remaining few tufts of your fur." Hun Dun's howl came to an abrupt end and he sobbed pitifully. Yun Chujio was speechless. She could not be bothered with him and withdrew her spiritual sense. Yun Chujio couldn't find the reason for the failure of the germinal pill for a while, so she put it aside for the time being. Maybe one day she would have a flash of inspiration and find the reason. In the next few days, besides cultivating in the courtyard, Yun Chujio went to the library of the ancestral residence to read books. As Lan Luoqing and the others had turned their backs on the dark and joined the light, this guy's life was quite comfortable. On this day, this fellow had just woken up in the morning when she heard the long-haired rabbit's mournful cry from her divine sense. She hurriedly used her divine sense to probe into the spirit beast pouch and saw the situation inside. She was so angry that she was amused. She saw that Hun Dun was sticking rabbit fur to her body. As for the origin of the rabbit fur, it was naturally pulled from the long-haired rabbit's body. Although the long-haired rabbit's grade had increased by quite a bit, it could not be compared to the ancient vicious beast Hun Dun. Therefore it could only let Hun Dun pluck its fur. "Sorry for the inconvenience. Thank you very much." Yun Chujio was angry and amused at the same time. However, she thought of a way to appease Hun Dun. "Hun Dun, stop tormenting the long-haired rabbit. I will ask Mao Chio to knit a sweater for you. I guarantee that it will be long-haired and you can have it in any color you want." When Hun Dun heard that, he immediately said excitedly, "Really? Then I want a green one." The corner of Yun Chujio's eyes twitched. "Green? Are you sure?" "Yes, I want a green one because green represents life so that my long hair can grow faster," Hun Dun said excitedly. Yun Chujio did not say anything more. As long as you are happy, it's good. After all, not everyone has the courage to go out with a green hat. With the promise of the sweater, Han Dun finally stopped. As his injuries improved, the number of times a certain deity ran away became more and more frequent. At first, Hei Shinjio could still enjoy the view. Later, a certain deity gained experience and stayed in the bedroom to cultivate. Once he transformed, he would use the blanket to cover himself. Hei Shinjio could only watch helplessly. Di Biming had just recovered when Xue Wuji and Enfeng arrived. The moment they met, Xue Wuji found an excuse to send Enfeng to the courtyard. He could not wait to ask, "Little sister Jiu, quickly tell me about that unfaithful woman." Chapter 51-57 came from Xue Wuji's sympathy. Yun Chujio glared fiercely at Xue Wuji. "Who are you calling a heartless woman? You're clearly the one who bullied Chi-Chi, okay?" Xue Wuji smiled and said, Yes. It's all my fault. How are the mother and son?" At this point, Yun Chujio did not hide anything. She told him everything about her background and Yun Chi. Xue Wuji opened his mouth and widened his eyes. For a moment he was a little confused. No wonder when he first saw the unfaithful woman, he felt that she was dressed very strangely. It turned out to be like this. Xue Wuji asked a lot of questions about Yun Chi, and his expression became a little disappointed. He said faintly, "Little sister Jiu, I feel that the unfaithful woman doesn't care about me at all. I'm just a tool for her to give birth to Rue'er." Yun Chujio looked at his depressed look and felt both angry and amused. She snorted and said, "Brother Wuji, even if you were drugged back then, Chi-Chi was a real victim. So, what right do you have to ask Chi-Chi to have feelings for you? It's already good enough that she didn't kill you." "But she was clearly the one who raped me later and more than once." Xue Wuji realized that he had gone bald. He quickly covered his mouth, wishing that he could find a hole to hide in. Although Yun Chujio had heard Yun Chi say that she had raped Xue Wuji, she could not help but laugh when she saw how Xue Wuji looked like a little boy. Xue Wuji was embarrassed and angry. He gritted his teeth in anger. "Little sister Jiu, if you laugh again, I'll leave." Seeing that Xue Wuji was really anxious, Yun Chujio held back her laughter with great difficulty and said, "Brother Wuji, I was wrong. I shouldn't laugh at you. Don't worry, I'll help you. Since Chi-Chi has slept with you several times, at least she's satisfied with your appearance." Xue Wuji could not help but feel sad. He was the young master of Wuji, but he had to rely on his beauty to keep a woman. How pathetic. Yun Chujio could not help but laugh a few more times before she said, "Chi-Chi has a cold personality. To be able to mention you to me means that you have a certain place in her heart. So I believe that as long as Brother Wuji is true to Chi-Chi, she will accept you." Hearing her words, Xue Wuji felt a little better. No matter what, with little sister Jiu's help, it was always a good thing. Moreover, this matter could finally be exposed so he didn't have to hide it all the time. "Sorry for the inconvenience." "Thank you very much." The two chatted for a while and then they talked about Rue'er. Yun Chujio said with a smile, "Brother Wuji, from now on, we will be in-laws." Xue Wuji said with a smile, "Of course it's a good thing. But, when will you and that facial paralysis give birth to a daughter? Don't let my son stay single forever." At this point Xue Wuji asked mysteriously, "Oh right, you and that facial paralysis should have been together for several years. Why hasn't there been any movement?" Xue Wuji and the others did not know that Yun Chujio did not come to Kueishui. Therefore they thought that Yun Chujio and Di Biming had already slept together. After all, the two of them had many opportunities to be alone, and they lived in the same room. No matter what, Yun Chujio was still a girl, so she did not want to explain the matter of Kueishui to Xue Wuji, so she said perfunctorily, "Don't worry, what will come will come." Xue Wuji saw that Yun Chujio was a little hesitant when she spoke, and he could not help but think of how Yun Chujio said that Di Biming was short in time and poor in skilled before, so he said with sympathy, "Little sister Jiu, I know you really have a tough life. But don't be discouraged, see more famous doctors and you will find a way." Chapter 51-58 really made people sigh. Yun Chujio was stunned. She wondered how Wuji knew about Kueishui. Could it be that the gigolo told him about it? However, she did not think too much about it and nodded. "Yes, I will think of a way, but I'm afraid there won't be a way for a while." Hearing her words, Xue Wuji was even more certain of his guess. He thought to himself, "It's good that he has facial paralysis, but I didn't expect that. No, it really makes people sigh." When this fellow thought about how he was forced to sleep with Rue'er, he suddenly felt a strange sense of pride. This fellow felt that something was wrong, so he consoled her dryly, "Little sister Jiu, There will always be a way. Yun Chujio was about to speak when Di Baiming walked out of the bedroom with an unfriendly expression. He was at a critical juncture in his cultivation, so he did not come out. A certain someone glanced at Shui Wuji. Why are you here? Shui Wuji saw that Di Baiming's expression was not very good, so he thought that he had heard the conversation between him and Yun Chujio. He said with sympathy on his face, "Don't worry, I won't tell anyone about this. Even in Feng won't tell anyone." Di Baiming was stunned. What is it? Shui Wuji thought that Di Baiming was trying to cover it up, so he sighed. Although face is important, the happiness of you and little sister Jio is more important. You'd better find a doctor to take a look, don't delay it. Di Baiming frowned. Was this idiot referring to his transformation? Therefore he snorted, I know what to do, there's no need to say more. Shui Wuji curled his lips. He really wanted to lose face and suffer. Forget it. If there was a chance in the future, he would help this facial paralysis find some famous doctors to take a look. Di Baiming glanced at him and said, You go out first. I'll talk to her for a while. After Shui Wuji tactfully went out, only Di Baiming and Yun Chujio were left in the room. Sorry for the inconvenience. Thank you very much. Although Di Baiming had recovered some scattered memories, not all of them were recovered. However, this did not prevent his heart from being restless. He vaguely remembered that every time they parted, the two of them would kiss each other goodbye. That was why Shui Wuji was sent out. Yun Chujio knew that Di Baiming was about to leave. Although she was reluctant, she also knew that this was something that could not be helped. Therefore, she pretended to be relaxed and said, Prince Charming, you can do whatever you want. Currently, I don't have any trouble in the Lan family. You don't have to worry about me. Seeing that Di Baiming did not speak, she said, It's not like you don't know me. Although my spiritual power is not that great, I have a brain. Therefore, you don't have to miss me at all. I will take care of myself. On the other hand, don't force yourself if you have something to say. Your matters are my matters. You must tell me. Di Baiming looked at Yun Chujio's red lips that were moving. He could not describe the frustration in his heart. He thought to himself, this ugly girl always teased him and said that she wanted to kiss him. Why did she keep kissing him when it was time to do so? Yun Chujio saw Di Baiming's absent-minded look and pouted, Did you hear what I said? Di Baiming saw Yun Chujio's pouting lips and felt even more frustrated. He lightly acknowledged. Yun Chujio saw the situation and glared at him, Do you only know how to acknowledge? Don't you know how to say anything else? You have lost your memory, not a mute. I worked so hard to take care of you, but I didn't expect you to be such an ingrate. But a certain someone finally kissed the red lips that he had been longing for. Suddenly, his heart bloomed with flowers and was filled with spring. Chapter 51-59? After lingering for a long time, Di Baiming released He Xinjiu with a satisfied look on his face. He Xinjiu was both embarrassed and angry. She said hatefully, You pervert. Didn't you lose your memory? Why didn't you forget about this? A certain venerate said with a straight face, I'm just trying to see if I can force out the cold poison. Yun Chujio, although a certain someone said it confidently, he felt a little guilty. He coughed dryly, He'll leave in Feng here to protect you. Be careful. Yun Chujio quickly rejected, No need, let him follow you. It's more convenient for me to be alone. Besides, the Lan family won't do anything to me now. It's a waste for Feng to stay here. In the end, Di Baiming still could not persuade Yun Chujio, so he could only say, Then you have to be careful. Don't try to be brave, don't play tricks, don't take risks, don't. Yun Chujio looked at a certain someone who was chattering non-stop and she was speechless. Prince Charming, are you in love with me? Is that why you can't bear to leave? A certain someone's words suddenly stopped. He paused for a moment and then said, You're thinking too much. I'm just saying it casually. Yun Chujio knew that this person was at Sundara, and she was too lazy to expose him. She said, Since that's the case, you'd better leave quickly. Otherwise, if the Divine Devil Hall finds out about your news, things will not be good. Di Baiming nodded when he heard that. All right, then this venerable one will leave now. Although he said that, he did not move. Yun Chujio looked at him speechlessly. She could only open the door and take the lead to walk out. A certain someone pursed his lips and followed her out. With a cold face, he said to Yun Chujio, You have to remember that you have a fiancé. When you have nothing to do, look at the 3 followers and 4 virtues and see what a husband's gang is. Yun Chujio glanced at him and said with a chuckle, Prince Charming, I only know what a wife's gang is. What is a husband's gang? Can it be eaten? A certain someone who failed to act pretentiously. Shui Wuji burst out laughing. He thought to himself, this guy is not good at facial paralysis, yet he still has the nerve to talk about the husband class? What a big heart. Di Biming glanced at Shui Wuji coldly, then took him and Enfeng away. Before leaving, he said to Yun Chujio, take care of yourself. Yun Chujio curled her lips. This tsundere. After Di Biming left, Hei Xinjiu felt a little empty. Although she was a silver snake before, with him by her side, she felt much more at ease. Fortunately, this guy was a big-hearted person. After a few days, he adjusted himself. During this period of time, this guy went to Mount Meru and was struck by lightning. Wu Yun, who came, was a little newbie. Not only did he not kill Hei Xinjiu, he even let her catch a cloud wing. Ever since the lightning incident, Han Dun had been very obedient. Oh God, this was a pervert. In some aspects, she was even more perverted than her previous life. She actually dared to rob Wu Yun? If word got out, it would scare people to death. On this day, Yun Chujio was cultivating when the Lan family's patriarch called her over. Yun Chujio went to the Lan family's patriarch's study eagerly. Before she entered, she shouted, Patriarch, little Jiu has come to pay her respects to you. Sorry for the inconvenience. Thank you very much. The corner of the Lan family's old ancestor's eyes twitched. This little girl was always full of vigor and vitality, which was rare. After Yun Chujio entered the study room, she bowed and said with a smile, Old ancestor, why are you looking for me? Are you going to reward me with something good? You don't have to reward me with anything too valuable. I see that your flying spirit weapon made by the Qing family in the Valley of Fog is not bad, so give it to me. Chapter 5160 went to the Zen sect again. The ancestor of the Lan family glared at her. I have something important to tell you. Hearing that, Yun Chujio immediately put away her cheeky smile. Ancestor, what do you think? The Mu family, Zhuang family, and Qi family have restrained themselves a little in the early stages. Recently they have started to stir up trouble again. What do you think about this? The ancestor asked. Yun Chujio narrowed her eyes. They should be testing the attitude of the Zen sect. If the Zen sect doesn't show any signs, they will push their luck. After saying that, Yun Chujio saw the old ancestor looking at her with a faint smile. This old fox immediately understood the intention of this old fox. Was he planning to ask her to go to the Zen sect to persuade them? Her heart moved. It was good to take the opportunity to go to the Zen sect. Perhaps she could see her parents again. Although her parents could not see her, it was good that she could see them. Therefore, she immediately said, Patriarch, I understand what you mean. I will set off for the Zen sect immediately. The patriarch of the Lan family was very satisfied with Yun Chujio's intelligence and tactfulness. He said, the road is not peaceful. I will send someone to escort you there. Yun Chujio giggled. There is no need to go to so much trouble. I will ask the Zen sect to send someone to pick me up. The patriarch of the Lan family's face stiffened. He thought that Yun Chujio was simply dreaming. How could the Zen sect send someone to pick her up? Yun Chujio said with a smile, I told you that I sensed something wrong with the Buddha's candle. They will beg me to go over and check it out without me saying anything more. At that time, I will say that I am afraid that there are 3 other families in the Divine Devil Hall who are trying to kill me. They will definitely take the initiative to send someone to pick me up. The Lan family's patriarch sighed in his heart. This troublemaker was really full of bad ideas. Fortunately, he didn't do anything to her. Otherwise, the outcome would be uncertain. The ancestor of the Lan family sympathized with the monks of the Zen sect very much. Not only did he replenish the Buddha's candle for free, but he was also very grateful to this little girl. Yun Chujio immediately sent a voice transmission talisman to a master. Sure enough, a master took the initiative to send someone to pick Yun Chujio up and take her to the Zen sect. The patriarch nodded with satisfaction. In that case, go back and prepare. The Zen sect will probably arrive soon. Yun Chujio did not move. She said with a smile, Patriarch, you told me that as long as I can safely bring Lan Luoqing and the others out of the divine relic land and get first place, you will let me be the young master. Why have you never fulfilled your promise? The old ancestor's face immediately darkened. I said that I would give you the right to compete for the position of young master. When did I say that I would let you be the young master? Sorry for the inconvenience. Thank you very much. Yun Chujio was stunned. Ah, so it's just the right to compete for the position of young master. It seems that I've remembered wrongly. But it doesn't matter. After all, others can't compete with me. Old ancestor, since I want to compete for the position of young master with others, I can't possibly not have any subordinates, right? Are you going to give me some manpower? I'm not greedy and I don't need too much either. I just need a few thousand people. The forefather took a deep breath. He finally understood that this little girl did not remember wrongly at all. She just wanted people from him. When you come back from the Zen sect, he'll give you 200 people. Yun Chujo was so angry that she was twitching. 200 people? She was just sending away a beggar. 200 is too little, 5,000. Yun Chujo stretched out a palm. The old ancestor glanced at her. 300. Yun Chujo shook her head. 4,000. In the end, Yun Chujo finally won over. 500 people. This guy cursed in his heart. This old stingy man. He was even more stingy than her. However, the guards of the ancestral residence were much better than the guards of the third branch, so 500 was still acceptable. A few days later, the people of the Zen sect arrived. Hei Shinjo set off for the Zen sect happily. The mountain of the Zen sect, the water of the Zen sect, Fairy Jio, I'm here again. Chapter 5161 Buddha's candle went mad after Yun Chujo arrived at the Zen sect. She greeted sect leader Wu politely and then asked impatiently, Master Liao Wu, what's wrong with the Buddha's candle? Has the dawn bell and the sunset wooden fish been nourished? Yun Chujo said ambiguously, I don't know. I have to wait until I see the Buddha's candle. Master Lei immediately sent someone to bring Hei Shinjo to Changming Palace. As soon as Yun Chujo entered, Buddha's candle's voice was heard through her spiritual sense. What are you doing here? However, it's good that you're here. I've suffered a lot from you before. Hurry up and kowtow to me and admit your mistake. Otherwise I'll tell the old monks the truth. Yun Chujo curled her lips. Clown candle, aren't you afraid that I'll pull out your wick? Buddha's candle snorted. It's useless for you to threaten me with this. At most I'll fight you to the death. Yun Chujo didn't continue Buddha's candle's words. She asked, how's your Buddha's power replenishing? It's almost there. Those monks are afraid that my Buddha's power isn't enough, so they come over to chant scriptures all day long. Moreover, this Zen sect is a place where the psyche power is very strong. Are you here to pick me up? Humph, if you kneel down and beg me, I might consider going with you, Buddha's candle said coldly. This time it had to take this female devil down. Yun Chujo waved her hand. You don't have to think about it. You can continue to stay in the Zen sect. I'm going to the vegetarian hall to eat. Then Buddha's candle saw Yun Chujo leave without looking back. Want to threaten her? You're courting death. Buddha's candle almost died from anger. This stupid girl really didn't care about it at all. To think that it even helped her hide the truth. If someone came, it would definitely expose her evil scheme. At worst, it would be a life and death struggle. Buddha's candle had never been subjected to such cowardice. After Yun Chujo came out of the Changming Hall, she saw Master Liao Wu again. Seeing her worried face, Master Liao Wu couldn't help but feel his heart tighten. Master Yun, is there anything wrong? Yun Chujo sighed. Buddha's candle has gone mad. Master Liao Wu's face was filled with shock. What did it mean that Buddha's candle had gone mad? Master Yun, what do you mean by this? Buddha's candle has been using its own Buddhist power to nourish the dawn bell and Shiwan's wooden fish. I don't know what has been done to the dawn bell and Shiwan's wooden fish, but it seems that Buddha's candle has gone mad. Sai, when I saw it just now, it was talking nonsense. It said that it had never seen the daybreak bell and the sunset wooden fish, and even wanted to kill its master. I'm really too sad. As Yun Chujo spoke, her eyes reddened and she began to cry. Master Liao Wu and the others looked at each other. How could it be like this? How could Buddha's candle go mad? However, when they thought about how Buddha's candle had possessed the body of a disciple and kept acting like a demon, it seemed a little abnormal. Now, it was possible that it had gone mad. Sorry for the inconvenience. Thank you very much. Master Liao Wu consoled Yun Chujo with a few words before everyone went to Changming Palace. When Buddha's candle saw so many people coming over, he threatened her with his spiritual sense again. Damned girl, I'll give you one last chance. Apologize to me right now and I won't expose you. Yun Chujo laughed lightly. Up to you? Buddha's candle was so angry that new and old grudges surged into his heart. He said loudly, all of you old monks have been deceived by this smelly girl. I have never seen any dawn bell or sunset wooden fish, let alone using Buddha's power to nourish them. After saying that, Buddha's candle looked at Yun Chujo proudly. He felt that those monks would definitely be so angry that they would vomit blood. They would definitely teach this smelly girl a good lesson. Chapter 5162. Buddha's candle that was about to die from anger. Buddha's candle didn't really want to kill Yun Chujio. He just wanted to show her some power. Because it felt that she had thrown it into the Zen sect without making a sound. It was too much. Since it had gotten it, why didn't it cherish it? What was the difference between this and an ingrate who abandoned his wife and children? It had already thought about it. Once these old monks really wanted to kill this female devil, if it said that it was joking, those old monks would let her go. Anyway, it was Buddha's candle and these old monks couldn't do anything to it. However, Buddha's candle discovered that when it finished speaking, no one moved. Instead, they looked at it as if they were looking at a lunatic. What are you all standing there for? What I said is the truth. This damn girl is lying to you. There is no such thing as the daybreak bell and the sunset wooden fish. I used up all my Buddha energy for other reasons. It was not to nourish the daybreak bell and the evening wood fish at all. After saying that, Buddha's candle saw that the monks still did not make any movements. He was so anxious that he jumped up and down. He said angrily, "You idiots! Didn't you hear what I said? If you don't catch her, I will possess your body and do it myself." Yun Chujio let out a long sigh and looked at Master Liaowu. "Did you see it? It is now demonic. In order to prevent it from hurting others, I will put it away first. Then we will discuss further." Master Liaowu nodded his head hurriedly, afraid that Buddha's candle would possess other disciples, and it would be chaotic again. Buddha's candle howled in anger, "Idiots! You bunch of idiots! She sold you all and you still helped her count the money." No one was willing to be scolded, so everyone looked at Buddha's candle with increasingly unkind eyes. Yun Chujio's spiritual sense moved. Although Buddha's candle tried its best to resist, it couldn't withstand the fact that they had already signed a contract and hid in Yun Chujio's left hand. In fact, there was another reason why Master Liaowu and the others believed Yun Chujio so easily. If the Buddha's candle was telling the truth, why didn't it say it before? It had already woken up. Therefore, everyone was sure that the Buddha's candle was playing tricks again. After all, it had a criminal record. Master Liaowu looked at Yun Chujio, who wanted to say something but hesitated. Yun Chujio understood what he meant and said, "Don't worry. I will stay in the Zen sect for a few more days. I will definitely think of a solution." Master Liaowu heaved a sigh of relief. "Then I will have to trouble you, Master Yun. I have asked my first junior brother to help you arrange a place to stay. I will still stay in the wooden house next to the Spring of Tranquility. After all, I am a female companion. It is not good for me to stay in other places," said Yun Chujio. Master Liaowu felt that what she said made sense and immediately agreed. Master Lei still sent Ji Kong and Ji Su to entertain Yun Chujio. The three of them arrived at the Spring of Tranquility. Ji Kong and Ji Su were much more cheerful than before, and the three of them chatted enthusiastically. Yun Chujio took out the gifts she brought for them, which were all food and trinkets. The gifts were not about how valuable they were, but whether they were sincere or not. Although the gifts that Yun Chujio brought were not very valuable, they were all things that they showed curiosity about when Yun Chujio chatted with them last time. "Has anything happened in the Zen sect these days?" Yun Chujio asked with a smile. Ji Kong and Ji Su looked at each other and then shook their heads. "No, everything is as usual." Yun Chujio was very smart. She knew that the two of them were not telling the truth, but she did not press them further. Chapter 5163. Beautiful Beyond the Horizon. The reason why Yun Chujio asked this was because she found that there were not all the people in the meeting hall today, at least 1/3 less. Logically speaking, for such a big event like the Breaking Dawn Bell and Shiwan's Wooden Fish, all the famous people in the Zen sect should be here. Therefore, she felt that those people must have gone to do something else, and it was not a small matter. However, since Ji Kong and Ji Su did not mention it, it was probably not easy to tell them. Anyway, she was going to stay in the Zen sect for a while and she would find out sooner or later. The three of them chatted for a while more. Yun Chujio excused herself from the two of them with the excuse that she was tired and moved into the small wooden house that she stayed in the last time. Buddha's candle had been cursing in his spiritual sense. Yun Chujio had isolated her spiritual sense before, so it was useless for him to curse. Yun Chujio undid the spiritual sense restriction and said with a chuckle, "Clown Candle, I have to thank you for making such a scene. Otherwise, I wouldn't have been able to take you back." Buddha's candle was so angry that he was about to die. He couldn't understand why those old monks didn't believe his words. "Clown Candle, I'm warning you for the last time. If you dare to be a demon again, I'll directly pull out your candle wick. I said I'll do it, but if you don't believe me, you can try." Upon hearing this, Buddha's candle did not dare to say anything else, because it felt that this female devil was playing for real. It could not help but feel sad. It was also a spiritual tool of the female devil. Why was she so gentle to the little flame and so fierce to it? It was too unfair. Moreover, she had left it alone in the Zen sect. She did not even take a fancy to it. Yun Chujio sensed the Buddha's candle's depressed mood and decided to give it a sweet date. Clown candle, in doing this for your own good. Didn't you say that I would replenish your Buddhist energy as soon as possible before you fainted? I'm not a monk, so I thought of a way to send you back to the Zen sect. There's nothing I can do about it. Buddha's candle felt a little better after hearing Yun Chujio's words. It seemed that this wretched girl had not abandoned it. She was doing this for its own good. Seeing that the Buddha's candle did not say anything, Yun Chujio continued, I came here to pick you up. Since you have signed a contract with me, I will not abandon you. The sweet dates given after the slap tasted especially sweet. After Yun Chujio comforted the Buddha's candle, its previous resentment was immediately thrown to the back of its mind. The Buddhist candle said with some awkwardness, since you are here to pick me up, let's leave the Zen sect now. It couldn't wait to see the colorful world. It had stayed in this shabby place enough. Yun Chujio shook her head. The time is not ripe yet. If I leave now, I will definitely arouse the suspicion of those old monks. I have to think of a way. Moreover, I want to see my parents again. I don't know who ordered these damn old monks to imprison my parents. Therefore Yun Chujio stayed in the Zen sect. Ji Kong and Ji Su chatted with her, and there was also a delicious vegetarian meal. Yun Chujio's small days in the Zen sect could be said to be wonderful. The person who was more excited than Hei Shinjio no the beast must be Hun Dun. Through Yun Chujio's spiritual sense, this guy saw that all of them were bald, and he immediately had a strange psychological balance. No matter what, it still had a few tufts of fur and it was much stronger than these monks. Moreover, it was already wearing the green sweater knitted for it by the wool ball, and it simply felt that its beauty was out of this world. Chapter 5164. I dreamed of Buddha. Hun Dun was very confident in his beauty, so he proposed to go out for a walk. Yun Chujio naturally wouldn't agree because Hun Dun's level of discernment was too strong. It's shaped like a bear, with long fur covering its body, for legs without claws, 2 eyes not seeing, 2 ears not hearing. Although the long fur was gone, other features were still there. Dog 2 said proudly, see? I Dog 2, am the one with foresight. I can go out anytime and anywhere. Hun Dun was so angry that he snorted. You ugly freak. It's a waste to go out. Poor nobody loves you. Dog 2 looked at Hun Dun, who was wearing a green sweater, and curled its lips. I don't talk about beauty and ugliness with fools. Hun Dun was so angry that he was half dead. However, he was only left with a few strands of hair. He did not have any fighting strength at all, so he could only howl. Xiao Hanio and the others were annoyed by his howl, so the miserable Hun Dun was beaten up in a group. Hun Dun felt that he was really unlucky for 8 lifetimes. How could he have confusedly recognized this black-hearted little girl as his master? He regretted it. He regretted it so much that his intestines turned green. Dog 2 thought of a very important question. Oh right, how did you offend the little fairy in your previous life? It felt that although Yun Chujio was black-hearted, she would not shave off Hun Dun's fur for no reason. Hun Dun must have done something to offend Yun Chujio. Hun Dun's eyeless eyes flashed and he snorted coldly. I don't remember. Buttface pursed his lips. You didn't remember? He probably didn't dare to say it? Perhaps, after he said it, he wouldn't be able to keep the last few tufts of fur. Yun Chujio never interfered with the friendly communication between the dumb cuties. This fellow didn't have the time to bother with them now. She was thinking about 3 things now. The first thing was how to trick the Daybreak Bell and Shiwan's wooden fish, and then leave the Zen sect with the Buddha's candle. The second was how to meet her parents. It would be best if she could find out the mastermind behind the scenes. The last was what had happened in the Zen sect. She felt that Ji Kong and Ji Su were absent-minded these 2 days. This was obviously abnormal. This guy thought about it and decided to start with the third thing. If she could help, then the first and second things might turn for the better. Hence, Ji Kong and Ji Su were invited for a meal. Ji Kong and Ji Su did not decline. Firstly, they had a good relationship with Yun Chujio. Secondly, they had never seen some fresh food brought by Yun Chujio, so they could not help but be curious. The 3 of them chatted while eating. After chatting for a while, Yun Chujio said mysteriously, I dreamed of Buddha yesterday. Ji Kong pressed his palms together. Amit Ba. This means that benefactor Yun has a wisdom root. Why don't you join the Buddhist sect? Yun Chujio, This fellow was so angry that she was about to get married and have sex with him. Where did he come from? Why didn't Ji Kong play by the rules? Shouldn't he be asking Buddha what he said? Fortunately, Jisoo asked, "Benefactor Yun, what did Buddha say to you?" Yun Chujio decided to treat Jisoo better in the future. He was the cuter one. The guy said with a sympathetic look. The Buddha didn't say it explicitly. He just said that I have a connection with the Zen sect and hoped that I wouldn't stand by and do nothing. He also said that I'm the key person to solve the problem. The guy said with a puzzled look, "What do you think the Buddha means?" "The Zen sect is fine. Why do you say that I stand by and do nothing?" Chapter 5165 was related to the ghost ancestor Ji Kong and Ji Su looked at each other and said a few perfunctory words, but it was obvious that they were absent-minded. Seeing that, Yun Chujio did not continue this topic and changed to talk about other things. After eating, Ji Kong found an excuse to leave. Soon Ji Kong came back and did not say anything. Yun Chujio wasn't in a hurry. Anyway, the bait had already been released. Whether the fish took the bait or not wasn't something she could control. After another 2 days, Master Liao Wu invited her. Yun Chujio narrowed her eyes. It seemed that the fish had taken the bait. After Yun Chujio arrived at the meeting hall, she found that the people this time were more complete and felt more confident. Master Liao Wu first asked about Buddha's candle. "Master Liao Wu, I wonder how Buddha's candle is doing recently? Although he is still a little agitated, I have been using my spiritual sense to calm him down. His condition is better than before," said Yun Chujio. Buddha's candle in his left palm cursed in his heart. "You are the one who is agitated. Your entire family is agitated." However, this fellow also knew that he could not outsmart Yun Chujio. Moreover, he was now her candle. As the saying goes, one follows the rooster, one follows the dog. He could only accept his fate. Master Liao Wu's mind was obviously not on the Buddha's candle. After pondering for a moment, he said, "I heard that Master Yun dreamed about Buddha a few days ago?" Yun Chujio was stunned at first, and then she said with some resentment, "Did Ji Kong and Ji Su tell you that?" "I just said it casually, but they actually told you?" Master Liao Wu's expression was somewhat unnatural. After all, this kind of gossipy behavior was not very good. He said dryly, "Master Yun, they were forced to do it. Please forgive them, Master Yun." Hey Shinjio was overjoyed. "Forgive them, of course, forgive them. He just wanted to let you know." However, there was still a hint of displeasure on his face. He said, "Since Master Liao Wu asked about this matter, is there something wrong?" Master Liao Wu sighed and said, "To tell you the truth, our Zen sect is now in great trouble. Since Buddha sent you a dream, can you help us, Master Yun?" Yun Chujio was so happy that she was rolling on the ground, but she looked surprised. Encountered a huge problem? The Zen sect has such a high status in the Chongshao continent, who would dare to cause trouble for the Zen sect? Could it be the Divine Devil Hall? Master Liao Wu shook his head. If it was the Divine Devil Hall, our Zen sect would not be afraid. "Oh? What kind of trouble is that? Master Liao Wu, please tell me. If I can help, it is my duty," Yun Chujio said righteously. Master Liao Wu sighed again. Speaking of which, this matter is related to the ghost ancestor. Yun Chujio almost fell to the ground when she heard this. Oh my, could it be that it was her fault again? Could it be that she did something good again? Master Liao Wu did not notice the slight change in Yun Chujio's expression and continued. "Back then, the ghost ancestor made a big fuss in our Bitter Zen sect and erased the word bitter from the plaque on the mountain gate of our Bitter Zen sect. Our Bitter Zen sect became the current Zen sect." Yun Chujio heard Ji Kong and the others mention this matter, so she was not surprised. She was just wondering why the old monk mentioned this matter. Master Liao Wu continued, "After the ghost ancestor left, an internal conflict broke out in our Zen sect because of the name of the sect. In the end, the Zen sect was split into two. The one we left behind was called the Zen sect, and the one that left was still called the Bitter Zen sect." Chapter 5166 Bitter Zen Sect. Yun Chujio's eyes widened. So there really was a Bitter Zen sect? Back then she had met the old monk, Wang Su, at the fallen god abyss and had asked her to send his relic to the Bitter Zen sect. She had thought that the old monk had said the wrong place, but it turned out that there really was a Bitter Zen sect? This fellow heaved a sigh of relief in her heart. She had originally thought that she had committed some sins in her previous life. It seemed that it had nothing to do with her, right? The division of the Bitter Zen sect into two seemed like they were having an internal conflict because of the name, but in fact it was just a fuse. There must have been a big conflict long ago, and it would erupt sooner or later. A few thoughts flashed through this fellow's mind, and she continued to listen to Master Liaowu say, after that branch of the bitter Zen sect left, there was no more news. I didn't expect that there would suddenly be news a few days ago. When Master Liaowu said this, he couldn't help but let out a long sigh. Yun Chujio cursed in her heart. This old monk is really something. Why did he sigh so much? He really left people hanging. Master Liaowu said, a few days ago the bitter Zen sect sent someone to deliver the decree. The main idea was that they are the true orthodox of the bitter Zen sect, so they asked us to move out of here and return this place to them. Yun Chujio curled her lips. Those people are too shameless. They were the ones who wanted to leave back then, and now they want to take over the magpie's nest? Bah! Dream on. Yun Chujio's words could be said to have hit the bottom of the hearts of Master Liaowu and the others. However, they were monks, so it was difficult for them to be so straightforward. However, after hearing Yun Chujio's words, their impression of Yun Chujio became even better. Master Liaowu continued, after we refused, the bitter Zen sect proposed to hold the 10,000 Buddha Dharma assembly on Mount Buddha in half a month. In fact, it was a competition between two sections. Only the winner had the right to occupy this place. Yun Chujio blinked her eyes. Master Liaowu, we just ignore them. Don't tell me they can attack us by force? Even if they attack us by force, we are not afraid of them. What are you worried about? Almsgiver Yun, you may not know this, but when the bitter Zen sect left, they took a lot of books and treasures with them. Although they have been hidden from the world, their strength is not to be underestimated. Moreover, we are from the same lineage after all. If we fight, we will be unworthy of the ancestors of the Buddha and the sect, explained the head of the sect. So you are going to agree to participate in the competition? Then just agree. Are you afraid of them? Or do they have some trump cards? Yun Chujio asked in confusion. The sect master looked troubled. To tell you the truth, since they took a large part of the ancient Buddhist scriptures, we might not have a chance of winning if we compete in the debate. Moreover, they also took a lot of numinous treasures. If the Dawn Bell and 11 won wooden fish of our Zen sect were still here, we wouldn't be afraid. But now, alas. Yun Chujio touched her nose guiltily and said, then what do you plan to do? Are you going to participate or not? Master Liaowu let out a long sigh and said, of course I'm going to participate. Otherwise, the bitter Zen sect will use this as an excuse to make a fuss and then attack our Zen sect. When the time comes, when the war breaks out, people will be plunged into misery and suffering. It's a sin, a sin. Yun Chujio blinked her eyes and said, Master Liaowu, you don't have to worry too much. If they were really that powerful, they would have attacked long ago. Why would they wait until today? Sorry for the inconvenience. Thank you very much. Master Yun, there is something you don't know. According to the information we have gathered, there seems to be a connection between the bitter Zen sect and the Divine Devil Hall. The most important thing is that they seem to have mastered a powerful array formation, which is why they have the confidence to shout at us, said Master Liaowu. Chapter 5167. Pain everywhere. Yun Chujio heard Master Liaowu's words and said in a daze, Master Liaowu, although I have already understood what happened, I don't know how to debate scriptures and I don't know how to use arrays. I can't help you. Sorry for the inconvenience. Thank you very much. Master Liaowu's face stiffened. He thought to himself, there's nothing he can do. She was desperate. Since Buddha said that she was the key person to break the situation, there might be a good way. Master Lei really didn't know what she could do, so he said, Master Liaowu, why don't you go with us to participate in the 10,000 Buddha Dharma assembly? Yun Chujio blinked her eyes. Logically speaking, I should be obliged, but I haven't been feeling well recently. My head hurts, my feet hurt, my waist hurts, and everywhere hurts. Master Liaowu, everywhere hurts? Wasn't she jumping around happily just now? Master Lei understood Yun Chujio's character better, so he said with a smile, Benefactor Yun, if you have any conditions, just say it. Yun Chujio waved her hand. Master Lei, I don't like to hear you say this. You say it as if I'm pretending to be sick. Master Lei was stunned. Was he wrong? However, he heard Yun Chujio say, I don't have any conditions. If I can help the Zen sect get through this crisis, can you release my parents? Master Liaowu shook his head and said, Master Yun, we can discuss other things, but I can't agree to this. Yun Chujio sighed. Alright, then I'll take a step back. If the matter is successful, can you tell me who ordered you to lock up my parents? Master Liaowu exchanged glances with Master Lei and the others before saying, Yes, but Master Yun, I advise you not to get involved in this matter. Otherwise it will be difficult for you to escape. Yun Chujio chuckled and then said with a serious expression, as a human daughter, if your parents are trapped but stay out of it, they don't deserve to be human. Master Liaowu nodded when he saw her say this. Alright then, it's a deal. If Master Yun has any needs, feel free to ask. Yun Chujio rolled her eyes and asked, do you have any pills or spirit tools that can hide your true gender? Master Liaowu immediately took out a ring and said, after wearing this ring, even a cultivator at the 9th level of the spirit extinguisher realm wouldn't be able to tell your true gender. I found this ring in a secret realm. It's not easy to come by. I'll borrow it for now. Before Master Liaowu could finish his words, the ring in his hand was snatched by He Xinjiu. She said with a smile, thank you for your gift, Master Liaowu. Master Liaowu, although it hurt a little, he thought that he couldn't use it, so he just gave it to her. Master Liaowu, when do we leave? If we have time, I want to go to your sect's scripture depository just in case, Yun Chujio said. Mount Buddha is about 3 days away from the Zen sect. We will leave in about 10 days. However, the Buddhist Dharma is profound, and the time is so short, so you don't need to waste your energy, Master Yin. The reason why Master Liaowu said so was because he did think that Yun Chujio had read it for nothing, and also because the Zen sect scripture pavilion did not allow outsiders to enter. Yun Chujio knew that Master Liaowu was tactfully rejecting her, but she would not give up this good opportunity. Maybe she could find some clues about the mastermind behind the scenes in the scripture pavilion. Thus she said, as the saying goes, if one grinds one's spear at the last minute, it will shine. We cannot hesitate just because the future is dangerous. Even if I can only read one Buddhist scripture, it will give me an additional chance of winning. Chapter 5168. The little monk Master Liaowu was stunned for a moment before saying, Amit Ba, it's me who has lost my mind. Since that's the case, I will pass down the order. Benefactor Yun, feel free to enter the library to study. Hence, from the next day onwards, Yun Chujio entered the library. Of course, Master Liaowu only gave her access to the ordinary books in the library. Naturally, he would not let her access the precious books. Yun Chujio did not mind. It had only been 10 days and she could not read that much. Although the library of the Zen sect was not complete, the collection of books was also very vast. It was more than 10 times bigger than the library of the Lan family's ancestral residence. Although Yun Chujio liked to be lazy, she would never be lazy when it came to reading books. Soon the day of departure arrived. Since the matter was of great importance, Master Liaowu naturally had to go personally. However, even though everyone had gathered, Yun Chujio was nowhere to be seen. Master Liaowu couldn't help but feel his heart beat faster. Could it be that that little girl had stolen one of his rings and went back on her word? At this moment, a handsome little monk walked over from afar with his hands clasped together. The little monk's eyes were clear and peaceful. One look and one could tell that he had a pure and good character without any distracting thoughts. He should have been influenced by Buddhism since he was young. Otherwise he wouldn't be so pure. That's right, he was pure. There were no impurities in his eyes, as if he had never had any worldly distracting thoughts. Seeing that he was unfamiliar, Master Liaowu asked a master beside him, how come I have never seen this disciple before? Which generation of disciple is this? Master Li frowned. He had never seen this little monk before either. Logically speaking, he should have an impression of such an outstanding disciple. At this time, the young monk had already walked in front of the two of them. He clasped his hands together and said, Amit Ba. Greetings, Master Liaowu and First Martial Uncle. Master Liaowu was dumbfounded. How come he didn't know when he had taken in such a disciple? Seeing the young monk's crafty gaze, Master Liaowu guessed in surprise, could you be Benefactor Yun? The little monk immediately lost his usual well-mannered appearance. He bared his white teeth and said in a clear voice, that's right, it's me. How is it? Is my appearance all right? I can definitely deceive those people from the Zen of Bitterness sect, right? Although sect leader Wu knew that there were disguising techniques in this world, he was still quite shocked. This was because even if an ordinary person took a pill to disguise themselves, or even used medicine to change their voice, it was very difficult to completely change their temperament. This little girl had a shrewd and worldly aura. How could she change into that innocent and harmless appearance from before? Master Li was also very surprised. He said, Benefactor Yun is indeed extraordinary. However, there is still a flaw. Yun Chujio blinked her eyes. You mean that I don't have Buddhist power cultivation? Master Li nodded. When he saw Yun Chujio just now, the only thing he was puzzled about was that the little monk in front of him did not have any Buddhist power. Yun Chujio spread out her hands and said, I can't do anything about it. Do you have any good ideas? Master Lei thought for a moment and took out a string of Buddhist beads and handed it to Yun Chujio. After you refine this, outsiders will mistake you for a yellow 9th level Buddhist lotus. It's just that this cultivation level seems to be a little too low. Yun Chujio quickly put the Buddhist beads around her neck and said, Not low, not low. It's better than me not having any at all. Anyway, I'm not going to fight with anyone. As long as I can fool them. Sorry for the inconvenience. Thank you very much. Chapter 5169 Prince Charming, I have become a monk. The corner of Master Lei's eyes twitched when he saw Yun Chujio's happy expression. He felt that anything that was free would be good to her. At this moment, sect leader Lei thought of a question. Did you just call me Master Liao? Are you planning to participate in the 10,000 Buddha Dharma Assembly as my successor disciple? That's right. It's more convenient to do things this way. Otherwise, due to the limitations of my identity, I won't be able to participate in some occasions, Yun Chujio said. Master Liao thought about it and felt that it made sense. In any case, it was a fake. So be it. That's fine. What's your Dharma name? Yun Chujio pressed her palms together and slowly said, Amitabha. This penniless monk's Dharma name is Lonesome. Master Liao, Master Lei, everyone, this Dharma name was, very special. As long as you were happy. Thus, the newly made lonesome monk followed Master Liao and the others and departed from the Zen sect. At this moment, Hun Dun was rolling on the ground in the spirit beast pouch happily. Ah! That smelly girl had made it bald, and now she herself had become a monk. It was really karma. Sorry for the inconvenience. Thank you very much. Yun Chujio used her divine sense to scan it, and her gaze lingered on its green sweater for a moment. She decided not to lower herself to the level of this idiot. After all, Hun Dun's twisted aesthetic sense was very rare. On the flying spiritual device, the Zen sect members either meditated or meditated. Even Ji Kong and Ji Su, who were usually a little more lively, did not dare to act rashly. He Xingjiu was bored to death. Therefore, she took out Di Biming's voice transmission talisman. Although she did not know if it would be sent successfully, she did not think much of it. Prince Charming, let me tell you something. I'm out of my home. Almost instantly, Di Biming's cold voice was heard from the voice transmission talisman. Say that again. He Xingjiu covered her mouth and snickered. She could imagine the dumbfounded expression of a certain deity when he received the voice transmission talisman. The guy blinked and said, Almsgiver D, my Dharma name is Lonesome. Please call me Master Lonesome in the future. Soon, Di Biming's gnashing voice came from the voice transmission talisman. Did you turn a deaf ear to my words? Did you run to the Zen sect again? Yun Chujio curled her lips. The pretty boy was smart enough to guess that she had come to the Zen sect. Therefore he stopped joking and told her everything. Finally he said, I didn't call you master for nothing. I want to make old Monk Wu suffer a loss. A moment later, Di Biming's voice came. Are you trying to put on a show to confirm your identity as a true disciple of the Zen sect? Yun Chujio curled her lips. It's not enough to just be the old monk's true disciple. Soon, there will be another lonely Buddha in the Chongshao continent. At that time, old monk Li Wu will grit his teeth and will not reveal my true identity. At that time, even if I can't save my parents, I can still take more initiative. After a long time, Di Biming's voice was heard again. Be careful. Yun Chujio said with a smile, don't worry, a disaster like me can't be killed. You on the other hand be careful. Di Biming only replied with an N. Yun Chujio pouted her lips. What a tsundere. Master Liao saw that Yun Chujio was smiling and frowning at the same time. He thought in his heart, can such a lively little girl really solve this crisis? Yun Chujio felt sect Master Liao was sizing her up. She turned her head and bared her little white teeth. Master, why are you looking for me? Sect Master Liao shook his head and thought to himself, this little girl's master is easy to call. I don't have such a good disciple. Chapter 5170 Inventory of Good Things. When Yun Chujio saw that Master Liao was no longer paying attention to her, she began to inventory the good things on her body. The first one was the 18 jade glass Bodhi seeds that the jade glass Bodhi tree gave her. These things were extremely important to confirm her identity as the son of Buddha in the future. Buddha's candle could feel her thoughts and couldn't help but curse in his heart. Gift? Are you fucking sure it's a gift? The jade glass Bodhi tree was about to cry until it turned into a withered branch. He had personally seen this black-hearted girl carrying a large kitchen knife and telling the jade glass Bodhi tree that if it could not gather 18 jade glass Bodhi seeds, it would chop it into a wooden stake. The jade glass Bodhi tree had no choice but to hand over these jade glass Bodhi seeds in tears. In the end, before this fellow left, he even grabbed a few jade glass Bodhi leaves. The cry of the jade glass Bodhi tree was simply heartbreaking. Anyone who heard it would shed tears. Yun Chujio did not know what the Buddha's candle was saying. The fellow continued to count with his spiritual sense. There were still quite a number of Buddha lotuses in her storage ring. Although she did not know what this thing could do since that old monk Wang Su valued it so much. It must be a good thing. Sorry for the inconvenience. Thank you very much. She still had the relic of Wang Su. If she used this thing well, she might have an unexpected harvest. In the end, she still had the Buddha's candle. The Buddha's candle was quite dissatisfied with Yun Chujio placing it at the last place. However, when it saw the breaking dawn bell and Shiwan wooden fish on Yun Chujio's wrist, it felt a strange balance in its heart. No matter what, it was better than these two unlucky fellows. 3 days passed very quickly. Due to the ban on flying near Mount Buddha, everyone had to go there on foot. Yun Chujio, this drama queen, was very professional. Even though she was fooling around with flying spirit tools at this moment, she looked very well behaved. Master Liaowu thought to himself, if he didn't know beforehand, no matter who said that the little monk in front of him was Yun Chujio in disguise, he wouldn't believe it. Because the two of them didn't have the slightest similarity. Yun Chujio was shrewd and worldly, jumping out of mischievous ways. However, the lonely little monk in front of him was peaceful and quiet. No one would connect the two together. News of the 10,000 Buddha Dharma assembly had spread throughout the entire Chongshao continent. Almost all the forces had sent people to participate, and most of them had their leaders come personally. The reason was simple. The Zen sect held an important position in the Chongshao continent. Once something happened to the Zen sect, it would have a huge impact on the Chongshao continent, so everyone naturally had to get first-hand information. Therefore, the Zen sect members met several groups of people on the road. Among them, there were members of the Lan family led by the ancestor of the Lan family. After the ancestor of the Lan family greeted Master Liaowu, his gaze fell on Yun Chujio. Because Yun Chujio had always been by Master Liaowu's side, it seemed that she should be the successor disciple of Master Liaowu. However, why had he never seen her before? Master Liaowu was afraid that the old ancestor of the Lan family would find out Yun Chujio's identity and bring unnecessary trouble, so he said according to the prepared excuse, "This is my last disciple. He has been worshipping the Buddha in the 1000 Buddha cave. This time I will bring him out to see the world." Only then did the old ancestor of the Lan family realize that there was indeed a 1000 Buddha cave in the Zen sect. It was said that there were thousands of Buddha statues in it. Judging from the purity of this little monk's eyes, it was obvious that he had been influenced by Buddha Dharma all year round. It made sense. However, this Buddhist power seemed to be a little low. However, he was still young, so it was not a big deal. As if seeing through his doubts, Master Liaowu explained, "This disciple of mine is very obsessed with the Buddhist Dharma. Instead, he has neglected his cultivation." Master Lan smiled, "Master Liaowu is too modest. This kid seems to have a good Buddhist nature. He will definitely have great achievements in the future." Chapter 5171. Meeting without knowing each other. Master Liaowu exchanged a few pleasantries. Seeing that even the ancestor of the Lan family was unable to see through Yun Chujio, he could not help but feel a little more at ease. The ancestor of the Lan family asked again, "May I know the disciple's Dharma name?" Master Liaowu's face stiffened, and he braced himself and said, "He is a generation with the word Ji, so his Dharma name. Lonesome." Lan family's Master Liaowu. "Master Liaowu, do you think Buddha knows that you are so naughty?" Lan family's Master Liaowu coughed dryly and decided to change the topic. "By the way, little Nine didn't cause any trouble in the Zen sect, did she? That little girl is very naughty. If there is anything wrong, please forgive her, Master Liaowu." Master Liaowu thought, "The little girl you mentioned is right in front of you. It was a pity that they didn't know each other." He laughed and said a few words, and the two of them chatted for a while more before the ancestor of the Lan family took his people away. Previously, the ancestor of the Lan family sent a voice transmission talisman to Yun Chujio. Yun Chujio told him that she would stay in the Zen sect for a few more days and return to the Lan family after the 10,000 Buddhist Dharma assembly. The ancestor of the Lan family naturally didn't object. If Yun Chujio stayed in the Zen sect, he would be able to keep track of the movements of the Zen sect in time. After all, the Lan family still relied on the Zen sect to intimidate the other three families. To be honest, the change of events this time made the patriarch of the Lan family feel a little uneasy. If the Zen sect was replaced by the bitter Zen sect, then the other three families might take the opportunity to attack the Lan family. Therefore he sincerely hoped that the Zen sect could win. After the patriarch of the Lan family left, he met the Mu family and others one after another. Everyone was a little curious about the newly made lonely monk, but no one doubted her identity. Master Liaowu was slightly relieved. However, could this little girl really play a crucial role? First, she didn't know how to debate scriptures, and second, she didn't have Buddha's power. What could she do to help? Forget it. Since it was Buddha's dream, let's wait and see. There was a Buddha city less than 30 miles away from Mount Buddha. Because there were too many people participating in the Dharma assembly of 10,000 Buddhas, it was already crowded. Both the inns and the streets were full of people. All the inns were full of people. Even the firewood room in the backyard was full of people. Sorry for the inconvenience. Thank you very much. However, big families like the Lan family had sent people to book inns in advance, so they were not too embarrassed. As for the people from the Zen sect, they did not live in Buddha City. Instead, they lived in the Buddha Temple. The Buddha Temple was located at the foot of Mount Buddha. Not only did the people from the Zen sect live here, but the people from the Zen sect also lived here. The Buddha Temple was divided into east and west courtyards. The bitter Zen sect lived in the east courtyard, and the Zen sect lived in the west courtyard. The Buddha Temple was not big and it did not have a prominent reputation. However, the bitter Zen sect had set the venue of the 10,000 Buddha Dharma assembly here. It was likely that the Buddha Temple was their power. Master Liaowu also hesitated whether he should live in the Buddha Temple. However, thinking about it, if he refused, it would appear that they were afraid of the bitter Zen sect, which would inevitably hurt their morale. Moreover, he felt that the bitter Zen sect would not resort to such insidious and despicable means. Even if they did, their Zen sect might not fall for it. Moreover, if they had such intentions, even if they stayed in the inn, they would still be schemed against. Although the Buddha temple was not big, it was quite quiet and elegant. The meditation rooms were also cleaned very cleanly, and the Zen sect people were still quite satisfied. Master Liaowu called Yun Chujio to his meditation room. Master Yun? Yun Chujio widened her eyes. Master, you don't even know your own disciple? Am your precious disciple, little monk lonesome? Master Liaowu. Chapter 5172. Xianji. Just as Master Liaowu was about to speak, Yun Chujio put away the cheeky smile on her face and said seriously, if you want to deceive others, you have to deceive yourself first. Master, don't you agree? Master Liaowu was shocked and immediately said, what your disciple said makes sense. I was careless. Master, why did you call me here? I want to remind you not to move around so as to avoid unnecessary trouble. To be honest, Sect Master Liaowu was really worried about Yun Chujio. This little girl was a troublemaker. If it weren't for the fact that there was no other way, he wouldn't have brought her here. Yun Chujio said obediently, Master, don't worry. Your disciple will recite scriptures in the room and won't cause trouble. Master Liaowu was about to give a few more warnings, but someone came to report that someone from the bitter Zen sect had come. Master Liaowu was not too surprised, but he did not expect the people from the bitter Zen sect to come so quickly. It was naturally not good for Master Liaowu to receive guests in the meditation room. He asked someone to send the people from the bitter Zen sect to a hall in the west courtyard that was specially used for receiving guests. Yun Chujio followed behind obediently. As the saying went, know yourself, know your enemy, and you will win every battle. She happened to look at the monks of the bitter Zen sect. Sorry for the inconvenience. Thank you very much. When Yun Chujio and Master Lei arrived, Master Liaowu and the others were chatting with a few monks. Yun Chujio cursed in her heart. These monks said that the four great powers were all empty, but they were actually just as hypocritical. They clearly wished that they could strangle the other party to death, but on the surface, they were smiling like Maitreya Buddha. An old monk at the head of the bitter Zen sect put his palms together and said to Master Liaowu, Amitba. I believe this is junior brother Liaowu. The old monk who spoke was very tall and sturdy. Although there was a smile in his words, it didn't reach the bottom of his eyes. Moreover, he addressed Master Liaowu as junior brother. It was obvious that he wanted to suppress Master Liaowu. Master Liaowu smiled and said, I am Master Liaowu. May I know how to address this master? Before the old monk who spoke earlier could reply, an old monk beside him snorted coldly and said, Master Liaowu, you are really giving us a lot of face. Why is it that our sect master has wronged you by addressing you as junior brother? Master Liao's expression remained the same as he said indifferently, "This junior brother, may I know how to address you?" The old monk who spoke couldn't help but choke. He didn't know whether he should reply or not. This Liao was indeed crafty. What should he do? If he went along with Master Liao's words, wouldn't he admit that he was a head lower than him? However, if he didn't go along with him, wouldn't he slap his own face? At this moment the old monk who spoke first smiled and said, "Master Liao, my Dharma name is Xian Ji. These are my junior brothers, Xian Hui, Xian Ren, Xian Ci. Ever since the bitter Zen sect established itself, it didn't continue to pass down its original Dharma name. Therefore, although it was in the same generation as Master Liao and the others, its Dharma name was Xian." Yun Chuzhou thought to herself, this Xian Ji was really quick-witted. This way he solved Xian Hu's dilemma. The conflict was temporarily resolved and both sides sat down. After a few polite words, Xian Ji's gaze fell on Yun Chuzhou. "This little disciple is the successor disciple of Master Liao?" Master Liao nodded. "That's right, Long. Haven't you met Master Xuanji and the other masters?" Master Xuanji and the others, did they hear wrong? This little monk's Dharma name was Lonesome? Master Xian Hui, the old monk who had been picking on them earlier, immediately sneered. "Your Zen sect is really difficult to explain in one word. Is there anyone who has such a Dharma name?" Master Liao felt helpless. This Dharma name wasn't bestowed by him. Chapter 5173 Acceptance of Fate? At this moment Yun Chuzhou's clear voice rang out. "Amitabha. Buddha says that all forms are illusory." Yun Chuzhou only said this one sentence and stopped speaking. "Sorry for the inconvenience." "Thank you very much." However, Xian Hu's old face turned red. Of course he knew what Yun Chuzhou meant by this sentence. All forms in the world were illusory and so was the Dharma name. He had mocked Yun Chuzhou's Dharma name just now. Obviously he had been blinded by the illusion. In this way, it made people feel that he didn't even understand such simple Buddhist principles. It was really embarrassing. Master Liao was very satisfied. It seemed that this little girl didn't go to the scripture depository for nothing. Master Lei and the others also looked at Yun Chuzhou with approval. They thought, well done. Master Xuanji stroked his beard and smiled. As expected, a master produces a good disciple, Master Liao. Your disciple's Buddhist nature is indeed good, but his cultivation seems to be a little low. If his cultivation is too low, I'm afraid that some profound Buddhist Dharma will not be able to be comprehended thoroughly. Master Liao said indifferently, he is still young, and he has spent all his energy on studying Buddhist Dharma. In time his cultivation will go up. I wonder if Master Xuanji has something to discuss with us? Master Xuanji smiled and said, Master Liao, we are of the same origin after all. It would be inappropriate if we hurt the harmony during the spiritual conference. Therefore we might as well have another discussion. If your Zen sect agrees to give up the space, we don't need to make a big fuss. Master Liao's face suddenly darkened. Master Xuanji, if you are here to talk about this matter, then there is no need to talk about it. There is no room for negotiation. Master Xuanji was not angry. He smiled and said, well, since Master Liao is determined to decide who is better in the Dharma assembly of 10,000 Buddhas, I will accompany you. Xian Hui sneered at the side and said, although our bitter Zen sect has not entered the human realm for many years, our cultivation has not fallen. At that time, I'm afraid your Zen sect will lose face. Master Liao frowned and did not respond to Xian Hu's words. Instead he picked up his teacup and drank tea. Everyone understood that Master Liao was serving tea to send off the guests. They had no interest in continuing the conversation. A cold smile flashed across Master Xuanzi's eyes. He stood up and said, Amitabha. Since Master Liao is so kind, I will take my leave. Master Liao said lightly, goodbye. I won't send you off. Master Xuanji immediately left with the people of the bitter Zen sect. Before he left, Xian Hui glared at Yun Chuzhou fiercely. This loneliness had embarrassed him in public just now. He would suffer in the Dharma assembly of 10,000 Buddhas tomorrow. Yun Chuzhou naturally saw Xian Hu's actions and sneered in her heart. She wanted to see what this old thing would do. After Xian Ji and the others left, Master Lei said with a worried expression, Master, the bitter Zen sect obviously hid their true strength. Their actual strength is much stronger than what we know. I'm afraid there will be big trouble in this spiritual conference. The others also nodded. Xianji was obviously here to demonstrate his strength. The people he brought with him, regardless of whether they were from the Shen generation or those from the Yuan generation like Ji Kong, had high cultivation bases. Master Liaowu chanted the name of Buddha, Amitabha. Everything has a destiny. We just need to give it our all. Yun Chujio pursed her lips in her heart. What she said was rather dignified. Wasn't it translated into plain language? Accept your fate. If she didn't come, perhaps these old monks could only accept their fate. However, since she, the nemesis of the competition, had come, the winner of this 10,000 Buddha Dharma assembly could only be the Zen sect. Chapter 5174 Scripture Debate. The next morning, everyone rushed to the venue of the 10,000 Buddha's Dharma assembly. Because of the name of the Dharma assembly, a statue of the Buddha was enshrined at the venue of the competition, and the monks of the Buddha temple had been chanting the scriptures. Master Liaowu and Master Xuanji held incense sticks and led the disciples to recite the scriptures once, and the Dharma assembly came to an end temporarily. Yun Chujio had seen the spiritual conference of the secular world, and it was much grander than this one. She thought to herself, these old monks said that they were monks, but in fact they were only SOSO about Buddhism. They were more concerned with how to improve the power of Buddha. The spiritual conference came to an end temporarily. The main event was coming. The abbot of the Buddha temple, Master Fangda, walked up to the competition stage, put his palms together and bowed. Then he said, Amitabha. Master Xuanji of the Suffering Zen sect and Master Liaowu of the Zen sect have asked me to preside over the next two competitions. The competition is divided into 3 rounds. The first round is the debate, the second round is the Buddhist power competition, and the third round is the array competition. According to the rules of the debate, anyone who can defeat the other 5 will win. In addition, the candidates for the competition are limited to the round word generation of the Suffering Zen sect and the silent word generation of the Zen sect. Now the competition begins. The expressions of Master Liaowu and the others immediately turned ugly. They had not said that the competition was limited to the round word generation and the silent generation of the Zen sect. It was obvious that the bitter Zen sect had held back. Although the round word generation of the bitter Zen sect was of the same seniority as the silent generation of the Zen sect, they were basically much older than the silent generation of the Zen sect. Therefore, whether it was in terms of cultivation base or experience, the Zen sect was at a disadvantage. It was really a good plan. However, it was already too late to back down now, so they could only brace themselves and accept the challenge. As soon as Master Defang stepped off the stage, a monk of the bitter Zen sect jumped onto the stage, put his palms together and bowed. Then he said, "This penniless monk is Yuan Guang of the bitter Zen sect. May I know which disciple of the Zen sect would like to discuss Buddhism with this penniless monk?" Soon, someone from the Zen sect came onto the stage. "This penniless monk is Ji Wang from the Zen sect. Please enlighten me." Yuan Guang looked Ji Wang up and down, and a hint of disdain flashed in his eyes. Then he said, "All impermanence is perception." Ji Wang immediately retorted, "Sound is impermanence, but it is not perception." Yuan Guang sneered. "Because it can't be." Ji Wang immediately added, "Sound should be the result of one's actions, because it is already a dharma." Yun Chujio was drowsy from listening to him, but in order to act cool, she could only pretend to listen with great interest. In fact, this guy did not understand a single word. Although she had read a lot of Buddhist scriptures, she only gulped down a few sentences that she thought were useful. Yuan Guang and Hope's debate was no different from the tomes of Arcane to her. Moreover, she felt that the two of them were too gentle. Why not just kill each other with one sentence? She saw that the forehead of Hope was already covered in sweat. She concluded that Hope should not be able to win against Yuan Guang. "Sorry for the inconvenience." "Thank you very much." Sure enough, soon Hope stuttered. In the end, he could not speak and could only admit defeat and leave the stage. There was a hint of pride in Yuan Guang's eyes as he said, "Which other Zen sect disciple will come up to accept the challenge?" Another Zen sect disciple immediately went up to the competition stage, but he was defeated again in the end. Fortunately, Ji Kong, who was the third to step onto the stage, won. Before Yuan Guang left, he gave Ji Kong a vicious look before stepping off the stage. Yun Chujio was very pleased with herself. She was definitely the reason why little monk Ji Kong was able to win. This was because she had often teased Ji Kong. Ji Kong's eloquence had been trained by her. Chapter 5175 Lonely little monk Ji Kong also felt that Yun Chujio had contributed a lot to his ability to deal with the Bitter Zen sect, because that female devil was much trickier than those people from the Bitter Zen sect. Ji Kong had won 3 people in a row. Master Li was very gratified. He thought that it was not in vain for him to send 2 disciples to that little girl to be tortured. It was still very effective. At this moment, another disciple came up from the Bitter Zen sect. Although this disciple was older than Ji Kong, he was much younger than those who had come up from the Bitter Zen sect previously. That disciple had a proud look on his face. He said to Ji Kong, "This penniless monk, Yuan Ji from the Bitter Zen sect, please enlighten me." Yuan Ji was the successor disciple of Master Xuanji. In the Bitter Zen sect, he could call the wind and summon the rain, so he was very proud. Moreover, not only was he proficient in Buddhism, but his cultivation was also very good. His talent was really shocking. He was already at the 3rd level of the Blue Buddha Lotus, and Ji Kong had just broken through to the 8th level of the Black Buddha Lotus. The difference was not just a little bit big. Therefore Yuan Ji did not put Ji Kong in his eyes at all. Ji Kong had heard about Yuan Ji from a Master Li yesterday. He knew that Yuan Ji's talent was amazing, so he had some fear in his heart even before he started to debate the scriptures. Yun Chujio shook her head. Ji Kong would definitely lose this round. The brave would win when they met on a narrow path. Ji Kong had already lost in terms of momentum before he even started the competition. Sure enough, Ji Kong was defeated after 15 minutes. Although Ji Su had fought with Ji Kong before, their relationship was very good. When he saw that Ji Kong was defeated, he immediately went on the stage and wanted to avenge Ji Kong. "Sorry for the inconvenience. Thank you very much." Unfortunately, he was not strong enough. After 15 minutes, he was defeated as well. 2 more Zen sect disciples went on stage in succession, but they also ended in defeat. Yuan Ji won 4 rounds in a row, and the arrogance on his face became even more apparent. If he won 1 more person, the winner of the scripture debate would be their Bitter Zen sect. The Zen sect disciples of the Ji generation looked at each other. No one had the courage to go on stage. The reason was simple. If they lost this round, the Zen sect would lose. The responsibility was too great. They could not afford it. Moreover, Yuan Ji was not only proficient in Buddhist Dharma, but he also had an imposing manner. They knew that they were no match for him, so why should they go on the stage and embarrass themselves? Yuan Ji, who was on the stage, sneered when he saw that no one was going on the stage. Amit Ba. Could it be that no one from the Zen sect is going to accept the challenge? If no one is going to accept the challenge, Master Defang, can this round be considered as my victory without a fight? At this moment, a clear voice rang out. Hold on. As the voice rang out, a young monk with delicate features leaped onto the stage. Master Liao's head buzzed. Why did this troublemaker go up? Did she know what scripture debate was? However, he thought about it again. Forget it. Other people would lose anyway. If she was willing to go up and jump around, then so be it. Yuan Ji had already met Yun Chujio yesterday and snorted coldly. That's fine too. You and I are both personal disciples of the sect masters of the 2 sections. I also heard that your Buddhist skills are profound, so you can barely be considered as my opponent. Listen well. The heart, Buddha, and all living things are empty. You can debate now. Lonely little monk pressed his palms together. Amit Ba. There's no rush, there's no rush. Allow this penniless monk to introduce himself. Yuan Ji, he thought that it was fine. If he allowed this penniless monk to introduce himself, it would be even more embarrassing. Therefore Yuan Ji didn't say anything and acquiesced. The little monk immediately put his palms together and said to the crowd, "This penniless monk's Dharma name is Lonely. I'm the last disciple of the sect leader of the Zen sect. I've been worshipping the Buddha at the 1000 Buddha cave of the Zen sect. It was because of the Buddha's enlightenment that I followed my master here." Chapter 5176. You have lost. There were many spectators below the stage. When they heard Yun Chujio's Dharma name, they immediately became excited. Oh my, that little monk's Dharma name is Loneliness? Is this a joke? This is the first time I've heard of such a Dharma name. Is there anything called emptiness in the Zen sect? However, this little monk is very comfortable to look at. He is just like the little boy under Guanyin Bodhisattva. Didn't he already say it? He has been worshipping Buddha in the 1000 Buddha cave of the Zen sect. Naturally, he is not tainted by dust. One look and you can tell that he is a pure-hearted person who practices Buddhism. Everyone was discussing animatedly. Some of them recalled what Yun Chujio said earlier about Buddha enlightening. They could not help but stretch their necks and shout, "Little Master Lonesome, what did Buddha enlighten you with?" "Sorry for the inconvenience." "Thank you very much." The little monk Lonesome, who had been standing silently on the stage, smiled faintly. "Buddha said you cannot say it." The crowd was dazzled by the little lonely monk's smile. This little monk could only be considered delicate and pretty, but his smile warmed people's hearts. He was indeed a person with cultivation. Master Liaowu was a little dumbfounded at this moment. Was it because Yun Chujio had just said closed-door disciple? When did he close the door? It was clearly open. His only stupid disciple, Ji Ping, had been killed by this troublemaker. Now he was saying something about a closed-door disciple. Did he want him to have no successor? Yuan Ji, who was on the stage, heard the discussions of the crowd below the stage. He was rather displeased. This loan was just a bag of bones. His cultivation was so low that it was not even worth mentioning. What was there to praise? He urged him with slight dissatisfaction. "You have also finished your introduction. Can we begin the debate?" Lonely little monk faintly smiled again. "There's no rush, there's no rush. I was enlightened by Buddha, so I naturally want to save all living things. They'll take this opportunity to recite the Lotus Flower Sutra for everyone." After saying this much, lonely little monk took out a small wooden fish from his storage ring and sat cross-legged on the stage, reciting the scriptures. His voice was pure and clear, and his tone was gentle and compassionate. For a moment the entire arena quieted down. Even Master Liaowu and the others, who were originally frustrated, seemed to have calmed down a little. Master Liaowu was puzzled. Did this troublemaker really have a wise root? She had only read Buddhist scriptures for a few days, but she actually had such attainments? In fact, he didn't know that the reason why it had such an effect was partly because Hei Xinjiu was a drama queen. People all depended on their appearance. The lonely little monk that she disguised as could easily make people have a favorable impression of her. The other half was due to the Buddha's candle. No matter how weak the Buddha's candle was, it was still one of the 5 treasures of the Zen sect. Just by casually releasing a bit of Buddha power, it could make people feel at peace. Of course, there were also people who were not at peace, such as Yuan Ji. He was so angry that he was about to puke. This was the debate platform, not a place to recite scriptures. What was this lonely trying to do? Could it be that he was afraid of losing, so he had been stalling for time? The more Yuan Ji thought about it, the more he felt that this was the case. He snorted coldly and said, "Shut up. We are now competing in scripture debate, not reciting scriptures. If you feel that you are inferior to me, just admit defeat right now. Don't waste time here." Yun Chujio ignored him and continued reciting scriptures. Muyu knocked even more happily. Everyone was originally immersed in a peaceful state of mind, but Yuan Ji interrupted them all at once. As a result, many people glared at him angrily, thinking that he was really a petty person. Yuan Ji was so angry that he almost died. He shouted, "Lonesome, if you don't stop, I will let Master Defang announce my victory." Yun Chujio slowly put away the wooden fish and smiled faintly. "You've lost." Chapter 5177 was still interesting about this lonely little monk. Yuan Ji couldn't believe his ears. This lonely little monk said that he had lost? What kind of joke was this? This lonely little monk didn't even say anything to refute. How could he have lost? Could this lonely little monk have a bad brain? The people below the stage were also baffled. This lonely little monk didn't look like a fool. Why did he say something stupid? Yuan Ji sneered, "Lonesome, even if you want to win, you can't do this, right? We haven't started the debate yet. Why did you say that I lost?" Yun Chujio smiled faintly and said, "Since everything is empty, where does your anger come from?" The sneer on Yuan Ji's face instantly froze. Previously he had said that heart, Buddha, and all living things are empty. Everything was empty. How could he explain his anger now? Although many of the people below the stage did not know any Buddhist scriptures, they still understood the simple logic. Yuan Ji's own actions were already contrary to the point he had raised. Wasn't that a loss? It seemed that the lonely little monk's previous declaration of names and recitation of scriptures were not nonsense. They were used to force Yuan Ji to make mistakes. TSK. This was the first time they had seen such a debate. However, this debate was much more interesting than the previous one. They didn't understand what the monks said in the previous debate. They even wanted to sleep. This lonely little monk was the most interesting one. Yuan Ji was unwilling to lose just like that. After all, if they won this round, the bitter Zen sect would have won the debate. Therefore, he said with a cold face, "This doesn't count. There has never been a debate like this." Yun Chujio said lightly, "Emptiness is color and color is emptiness. As long as you are proved wrong, the debate can naturally be done like this. In short, you lost." Yuan Ji looked at Yun Chujio's casual look and became more and more angry. However, there were no fixed rules for the debate in the Chongshao continent, and the rules did not explain it. He really could not do anything about Yun Chujio. At this moment, Yun Chujio looked at the crowd below the stage and said with a faint smile, "Almsgivers, do you think this penniless monk won or did he win?" The crowd immediately let out a noisy shout, "Young Master Lonely won." Not only did young Master Lonely win, but he also won skillfully. You shouldn't be so stubborn up there. That's right, what young Master Lonely said is simple and easy to understand. Even if we don't understand Buddhism, we can still see that he won. If you are willing to bet, you must admit defeat. Is that person trying to be a scoundrel? Yuan Ji was so angry that he almost died. He really did not understand why these people below the stage would speak up for Lonesome. Could it be that these people were from the Zen sect? Yuan Ji was really thinking too much. These people had nothing to do with Yun Chujio. What Yun Chujio grasped was the mentality of these people who liked to cause a ruckus. If she lost this round, then the debate would be over. The cultivation competition would be set for the next day. Wouldn't these people have nothing to watch? Moreover, they felt that this lonely little monk was different from ordinary monks. They also wanted to see what he would do next. Sorry for the inconvenience. Thank you very much. Moreover, the lonely little monk had read the scriptures for them for a long time in vain. They couldn't just listen to him for nothing, could they? Yuan Ji wanted to say more, but Master Xuanji had asked someone to replace him. Since things had come to this point, it was useless to say more. Yuan Ji clenched his fist and sneered at Yun Chujio, "Let's talk about the strength of tomorrow's cultivation competition." Chapter 5178 Appearance is born from the heart. Hearing Yuan Ji's words, Yun Chujio still smiled faintly and did not speak. This made Yuan Ji even more flustered and exasperated, and the crowd booed. Yuan Ji was so angry that he almost died, but the law did not punish the crowd. He could not go down and bicker with those who were watching the show. He angrily returned to the bitter Zen sect stands. Yun Chujio did not pay attention to the new disciple of the bitter Zen sect. She took out the wooden fish again and began to recite the scriptures. The disciple of the bitter Zen sect held his anger in his heart. However, he thought about it and realized that he had not proposed a defense yet. He was not afraid of this Lonely being cheated, so he said, "Lonely, stop reading for now. Let's begin the debate. If you continue to do as you wish, it means that you have admitted defeat." Hearing that, Yun Chujio smiled lightly and said, "How should I address you? This penniless monk Yuan Tong?" Yun Chujio thought to herself, "Yuan Tong? And Shunfeng." Yuan Tong directly threw out his own debate topic. If there is a cause, there must be a phase. If there is a phase, it will mess up people's hearts. It's your turn. Everyone looked at Yun Chujio eagerly, wanting to hear how she would answer. However, she pointed at Yuan Tong's chest and did not say anything. Everyone looked confused. What did he mean by this? Yuan Tong wanted to question her, but when he remembered Yuan Ji's lesson, he softened his tone. "What do you mean by this?" Yun Chujio pointed at Yuan Tong's chest again and said, "You can't even understand this and you still want to debate? You've lost, go down." Yuan Tong was so angry that he laughed. This lone had just pointed at his chest twice and he lost? This lone was talking to himself too much, wasn't he? How did he lose? The people below the stage were also dumbfounded. What did he mean? How did that Yuan Tong lose? Yuan Tong said in a somewhat exasperated manner, "Lone, speak clearly. How did I lose?" Yun Chujio pressed her palms together and said slowly, "Life is created by oneself, and appearance is born from the heart. All things in the world are in the form of appearance. The heart does not move, all things do not move, the heart does not change, all things do not change. It is not the so-called appearance that disturbs the heart, but your heart is in turmoil. Since your heart is already in turmoil, do you still have the right to argue with me?" Although the audience below the stage did not understand Yun Chujio's tongue-twister-like words, they felt that it was pretty awesome, so they started to jeer, "Good. Well said. Well said. Little Master Lone has won." Yuan Tong was so angry that he almost died. What did these idiots know? Why were they shouting that Lone had won? These people must have been hired by the Zen sect. How insidious. However, to be honest, he really did not know how to refute Yin Chujia's words just now. He thought to himself, this lone was indeed very proficient in Buddhist principles. Even if he tried to refute, he would still lose in the end. Since that was the case, he might as well just admit defeat. Hence, Yuan Tong took a deep breath. I admit defeat. Yun Chujio heaved a sigh of relief when she heard Yuan Tong admit defeat. She had racked her brains just now to think of these few sentences. If this Yuan Tong continued to argue with her, she really did not know what to say next. Sorry for the inconvenience. Thank you very much. However, this fellow would not show it. He nodded at Yuan Tong. Thank you for letting me win. Yuan Tong angrily walked down from the competition stage, hating Yun Chujio. The people of the bitter Zen sect were also indignant. This lone was too crafty. At this time, another disciple of the bitter Zen sect stepped onto the competition stage. Before he could say anything, Yun Chujio said first, it has always been your bitter Zen sect who brought up the topic of debate. It should be my turn this time, right? That disciple nodded with a hint of arrogance. Sure. Chapter 5179. Yun Chujia's debate topic. This disciple of the bitter Zen sect was called Yuanji. He believed that he was quite knowledgeable about Buddhist scriptures and felt that it was fine for Yun Chujio to come up with the debate topic. Yun Chujio smiled faintly at him. However, for some reason Yuanji felt that there was some malicious intent in her smile. I said chicken first, it's your turn? Yuanji, everyone, what the hell? Did they hear wrongly? There was a chicken first? Was she planning to let Yuanji prove that there was an egg first? What kind of joke was this? This question was an endless paradox. How were they supposed to argue? If they said that there was an egg first, where did the egg come from? If they said that there was a chicken first, where did the chicken come from? However, Yuanji had to successfully refute the argument raised by that lonely little monk before he could win. It was obvious that he couldn't win. Moreover, he had never heard of anyone who had a chicken or an egg first. Yuanji finally understood why Yuanji and Yuan Tong were so angry. This lonely was too crafty. He looked innocent and harmless, but in fact, his heart was black. Yuanji's voice was slightly trembling as he said, what kind of argument is this? Amitabha, what's wrong with this argument? This penniless monk thinks this argument is very interesting. You can start the argument now and don't waste time. Of course, you can also admit defeat directly. This penniless monk has no objections, Yun Chujio said lightly. Yuanji gritted his teeth. Change the debate topic. This doesn't count. Yun Chujio paused for a moment. That's fine. This penniless monk has always been kind to others. Then change the debate topic. The people of the Zen sect thought that Yun Chujio was most likely stupid. She was clearly on the verge of victory, but she actually agreed to change the debate topic with Yuanji. If this wasn't stupid, then what was? Yuanji was delighted. He thought to himself, this lone doesn't seem to be that smart. Otherwise, why would he agree to change the debate topic? At this time, Yun Chujio said lightly, however, it's only the third time. If this penniless monk changes the debate topic, you can't raise any more questions. Yuanji thought that as long as it wasn't a rogue question like the chicken getting the egg first, he wasn't afraid at all. So, he said with certainty, of course. Yun Chujio smiled again. For some reason, Yuan Tong felt that her smile was a little strange. I said there was a goose first. It's your turn. Yuanji, everyone, this was too fucking mean. What difference did it make whether it was changed or not? According to what he said, it could be said that there was a duck first, a wild goose first, and an eagle first. Yuanji finally understood why Lone had said that he would not do anything more than 3 times. It turned out that he was waiting for him here. Yuanji was so angry that he was twitching. However, the people below who were watching the show felt that it was very interesting. One after another, they jeered, who's that? Argue. Little Master Lone said that there was a goose first, so why don't you just say that there was a goose egg first? That's right, hurry up and argue. We're all waiting. This is good. It's much more interesting than those impermanence and perception things from before. We don't understand those things, but we can understand this. Yuanji wished he could shut their mouths. What did these idiots know? However, he had already agreed not to change the topic and knew that he would lose in the end, so he gritted his teeth and said, you win? Sorry for the inconvenience. Thank you very much. Amitabha. Thank you. Yun Chujio said lightly as if she didn't care about winning or losing. Yun Chujio won 3 people in a row. Master Xuanji and the others' faces turned ugly. If Lone won one more round, the situation would be a bit dangerous. Therefore, the next person on the stage was the key. Chapter 5181. Again at this time, a disciple of the bitter Zen sect stood up and said, "Let me meet him. This loan is just a little clever. It's not a big deal." The disciple who spoke was called Yuan Guang. He was Master Xin Hu's direct disciple and had an arrogant personality. When he saw Yuan Ji and the other two lose consecutively, he felt that it was a great opportunity for him to show off. Xian Ji wanted to stop them, but he understood Xian Hui. If he spoke out to stop them, he might be dissatisfied, so he did not say anything. Xian Hui had long disliked Yun Chujio and could not wait for her disciple to go up and vent her anger. Thus she nodded and said, "That's fine too. You can go. Otherwise he won't know the immensity of heaven and earth." Yuan Guang immediately jumped onto the competition stage with an arrogant expression. Before he could say anything, he heard Yun Chujio say, "I will still be the one to come up with the debate question this time. You don't have any objections, right?" Yuan Guang frowned. "Why should you come up with a debate question?" Yun Chujio said indifferently, "You have already come up with the debate question twice, and I have only come up with one, so I will still be the one to come up with the debate question this time." "What? Don't you dare to accept the challenge?" Yuan Guang thought highly of himself and snorted coldly. "Fine, if you come up with it, then you come up with it. But you can't say that the chicken comes first and the egg comes first. Of course, what this penniless monk is saying now is a lie. It's your turn." "Sorry for the inconvenience. Thank you very much." Yuan Guang curled his lips. "Is there a need to argue? You already said that what you said was a lie, so naturally it's the truth." Yun Chujio smiled faintly. "The truth? If what I said is true, then I'm telling a lie. Then what you said is a lie. If what I said is a lie, then if I say that I'm telling a lie, then wouldn't that be the truth?" Yun Chujio laughed lightly. Yuan Guang was confused by her words. The more he thought about it, the more clueless he became. He had actually gotten himself involved in this. He was not the only one who was like this. The people who were watching the show were also like this. Some of them even started to argue. It was very noisy for a moment. Some people wondered why this lonely little master had brought up such tricky arguments. How did he think of it? Then they thought of what he said about being enlightened by Buddha. Could it be that Buddha told him all these questions? At this time Yuan Guang was sweating profusely and his head was buzzing. The more he thought about it, the more confused he became. If it were not for the fact that there was no hair on his head, he would probably have plucked a few strands of hair. Yun Chujio was still as calm as ever. She said calmly, "You don't even know which point of view you should stick to. Do you still need to argue? You lost." Yuan Guang was angry and hateful, but he was confused by Yun Chujio's words. He gnashed his teeth and said, "Lonesome, good, very good. Well, see." Yun Chujio put her palms together. "Amit ba. We'll see you out." Yuan Guang's expression became even more unsightly. He jumped off the competition stage and left. Master Liaowu saw that Yun Chujio had won 4 matches in a row. He instantly threw the anger that Yun Chujio had brought about by saying that she was a closed-door disciple to the back of his mind. Although this troublemaker's method was a little opportunistic, no matter what, it was good that he had won. As long as he won one more round, the victory of this round of scripture debate would belong to their Zen sect. Compared to the excitement of the Zen sect, the faces of the people of the bitter Zen sect were not as good, especially Xian Hui, whose face was so gloomy that it was frightening. He could have crushed that loneliness to death with one finger, but both he and his disciple had fallen on him. It was a great humiliation. Master Xuanji glanced at Xian Hu's expression and cursed a fool in his heart. However, the most important thing now was to defeat this loneliness, or else he would lose the scripture debate. Chapter 5181. Dead End. Master Xuanji frowned. This loan looked innocent and harmless, but he was very tricky. This round could not be lost. He had to find a countermeasure. At this time, a disciple with an aquiline nose stood up. He said, "Master, that loan has come up with 2 debate questions in succession. Next, it's our bitter Zen sect's turn to come up with a question. I just happen to have a debate question. I guarantee that this loan cannot answer it." Master Xuanji raised his eyebrows slightly and said in a deep voice, "Yuan Qing, please tell me about it." Yuan Qing walked to Master Zuanzi's side and whispered a few words. Master Xuanji nodded his head approvingly and said, "In that case, you can go on stage now." Yuan Qing went on stage with a smug look on his face. Yun Chujio's expression was the same as usual. but she thought to herself, as the saying goes, the person who comes is not kind. She must seize the opportunity. Thus, she said, this penniless monk will come up with the debate questions this time. Yuan Qing snorted coldly. You have already come up with 2 debate questions in succession. It should be our bitter Zen sect's turn. Most of the previous debate questions were produced by your bitter Zen sect. I only came up with 2. That's not too many, right? Yun Chujio said indifferently. If it wasn't for the sake of maintaining the lonely little monk's innocent and harmless persona, this fellow would have long scolded Yuan Qing to the point of being shameless. Yuan Qing rolled his eyes. He knew that it was useless to argue with Yun Chujio, so he said, you and I don't have to argue anymore. Let Master Defang decide. Yun Chujio sneered in her heart. That old monk Defang was definitely from the bitter Zen sect. He would definitely side with the bitter Zen sect. However, before she had the time to stop him, Master Defang said, although most of the previous arguments were put forward by the bitter Zen sect, there are 5 rounds in this round. The questions should be put out in turn. This round should be put out by the bitter Zen sect. Yun Chujio cursed the old monk in her heart, but she also knew that since Master Defang had spoken, there was no room for change. She said lightly, since Master Defang has said so, then you should give the questions. A smug look flashed in Yuan Qing's eyes. He stretched out his right hand and said, this penniless monk has an inch-long mouse in his hand. Do you think it's alive or dead? Inch-long rats, as the name implied, were only about an inch long. They were very small and exquisite. This kind of inch-long rat was not of a high grade. Its attack power was also very average, but it was good at grinding ink. Some people raised it as a spirit pet. Yuan Qing's words immediately caused a huge uproar. The people below the stage discussed animatedly, this time that little Master Lonely will definitely lose. The inch-long rat in Yuan Qing's hand must be alive. If Lonely Little Master said that the inch rat was alive, then Yuan Qing will squash that inch rat to death. Lonely Little Master will guess wrong. If Lonely Little Master says that the inch rat is dead, then Yuan Qing will not do anything. Lonely Little Master is still wrong. You're right. This question is very similar to the question that Lonely Little Master came up with previously. This time, Lonely Little Master will definitely lose. I really don't want young Master Lonely to lose. However, there's nothing I can do about it. This is a dead end. Sorry for the inconvenience. Thank you very much. Master Liaowu and the others naturally guessed this point. They couldn't help but shake their heads and sigh. Everything was set in stone. Yun Chujio had relied on her cleverness to win 2 rounds before, but in the end she was still returned. Yuan Qing's face was full of pride. He urged, Lonely, don't dawdle anymore. Just admit defeat. Yun Chujio sighed, I know. No matter if I say that the inch rat is dead or alive, it's a defeat. Yuan Qing said arrogantly, it's good that you know. Since that's the case, are you admitting defeat? You're tuning in to the Han Li's Wuxia Chronicles YouTube channel. We're so grateful for your support, and don't forget to subscribe to join us on this incredible journey through captivating stories. Your generosity through donations truly makes a world of difference, as it's the primary source of revenue that allows me to expand and enhance this channel for you. Thank you from the bottom of my heart for being a part of this adventure.